Only if my lines can be done using an AI voice synthesizer that can be done.
Yeah. Troy's gonna say something like,
Hello, Grogu.
Mithi.
Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to Fanboy Talk. I'm joined today. This is
Yeah,
Fanboy
this
17. I'm joined by
podcast.
co-host Mithi from Film Caffeine, and we're joined by a guest. I choked for a second. We're joined by our guest Cole from Critical Rants. Cole, you've never been on the podcast, have you, Cole?
Pleasure to be on. The stars have aligned finally.
Finally, they've aligned. I
It
mean,
is a pleasure to have you here. Yeah.
Just,
No, they're mine too. Don't take all the pleasures for yourself. Some of them are mine. That didn't make any sense, did it?
well, it didn't make sense because you didn't mention Fortnite, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Mithi, I don't understand
right,
anything
yeah,
that you're
okay.
talking about unless if you frame it through the lens of
If
Fortnite.
it's Fortnite. So imagine if you had the. I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop. I haven't been playing Fortnite that much. I played and I got like some of the rock stuff and I got the skin and then I was like, okay, all right. I'm working towards the Future Foundation thing, but
What level are you at?
I don't think I'm gonna 117.
Fuck, I'm in the
Or
same
18,
level. God damn.
18.
Oh no. Oh no.
You-
Oh
I
no.
caught up, I
Oh
caught up,
shit.
I did
Okay,
it.
I gotta do
I've
some
been doing
quests.
it, I'm
Alright, I
gonna
gotta do a
beat
bunch of
you.
quests.
I'm gonna.
Alright, I'm gonna grind out. I'm gonna grind it out
fucking
tonight.
beat
I'm gonna
I
grind it
should
out tonight.
I shouldn't have even said that. I shouldn't have even said that. I should have lied. I should have lied
Should
and
have
said
lied.
like
Actually, you should have said
102.
like 90 and I'd be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm so far ahead of you.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And then
Cole,
you
what
slow
level are
down.
you in Fortnite?
Fuck.
As someone who plays Fortnite every day of my life, and certainly not someone who hasn't played the game in years, I'm at level 6.
That's a really
that
good
right?
level. That's
Is
a
that
really You're in a really good place, I'd say.
That is it.
Also, started video
That's a very
users.
good place,
We're
yeah.
using Discord, and I am unused to the system, so you're gonna see me change people's volumes a good amount. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. That's okay though. I feel like
No, that's fine. Yeah, Discord's weird. I don't know why.
nobody
I
watches
don't
this
know.
fucking
The
thing.
video will probably
We
try.
spend so much
Why am I
effort to get like good video quality, and then people just fucking lock their phones or listen to it on
Yeah.
Spotify.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm in a fucking box. I'm in Zack Snyder's Justice League. What the fuck is going on
This
with
is
my
the
camera?
director's vision.
I can't get out
Yeah.
of this shit. This is my director's vision, except it's cropped, I guess. But yeah. Just think about that. You film something in like IMAX ratio, but just because you're pretentious, maybe you cut it down to
ratio
like.
L plus ratio plus fell off plus young boy better.
And you think you're better than anyone else on this
what if
God
Zack Snyder's Justice League just
wrecking
started
platform?
with ratio? That's it. That's all it says. There's just the purple text or the
Chapter
purple background,
1,
the white text, and it just says
ratio.
ratio. I'm surprised.
Ratio.
Does it say ratio in that opening? Because I would Photoshop that, and that'd be really funny.
No. Here's how it should have opened: is that you have how it's just Superman screaming for like 4 minutes. He's just.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
I forgot that.
I forgot half of that fucking movie, man. I forgot that whole
Yeah,
fucking
me too.
thing. And I feel so
forgot
bad
that
because
scene
it's like I
was
think I like it, but I don't remember anything.
Well,
It's a fine movie.
It's
That's
much
really
better
all
than
it is.
Justice
to me.
League.
It's
That's all that
it's
really
a
matters.
fine.
If it's better than the Joss one, that's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
that counts.
Yeah. We really are opening up this podcast talking about Zack Snyder's
Yes,
Justice
we
League.
are.
That's
Then we're gonna follow it up
Yeah.
with talking about Star Wars, and then we're gonna talk about Spider-Man,
Is-
and then
is-
fuck it, man, let's
You
talk about
sure?
politics. What do you guys think about the vaccine? Why not?
Brie Larson.
Who cares? What do you guys think of legacy
Yeah.
characters? Oh, we had a whole talk about legacy characters last time.
We did.
We
It was
did.
fun,
We didn't
though.
get
I had
canceled.
fun talking about that. We didn't
It's
because
cancel
we need to
culture.
get. We need to. Yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
really just it's just like a bunch of key terms now that we're just running through the list
Yeah,
and just making
go
sure we
through
hit
it.
everything.
What are people mad about today? Wait, sorry, what'd you say?
I don't know.
You are cutting out a
People
little
are
bit, Cole.
the
So
Raimi
if we
mask.
talk
Do
over
we
you, I
wanna talk-
apologize.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be talking over you guys. Like
That's
as soon as I
fine.
get onto something.
Yeah, we don't need to. You don't need to
go.
listen to us. Just keep going.
You know what people are mad about before we talk about what we did? The Raimi mask.
Raimi
Did
Mask
you
mad
see
is.
that?
I think
People
it's
were pissed
dumb. I
off
think
about,
it's
like-
people are like actually mad.
Some people were mad
Spider-Man.
and like I don't care. My take on it is if you point out the difference, that's fine because you're just pointing out a
Yeah.
difference. If you're like the movie sucks for that,
No,
Eh,
I think
if you
I
say the
do. I
movie
will
sucks
say
for
I
the
do.
CG,
I do think that
that's
the new
different.
mask looks a lot worse, like just from a visual
Yeah.
standpoint. But it's like that doesn't really matter. But it's
Yeah.
like why? they have the model still. That's what's really weird to me.
Yeah.
They have a very high fidelity model, both from the movies, but also from the game. You know, so I don't know what the.
But then you also said that it's the same as the game, right? Is the mask
I thought it was.
the same as the one in the game?
No, the game model, aside from like the physique, is very accurate. To the Spider-Man 2 suit.
Okay.
I mean,
I
like,
didn't know that.
you could just write it off as like he changed suits in the 20 fucking years since he showed up. You know, that's that. There we go. But it's just an uglier web pattern.
Yeah.
What really sucks is that the model just doesn't look that good sometimes. But that's a whole other conversation for that. You can only have apparently when the movie's out on digital, so you can see things clearly.
No.
That's the only time you can discuss.
So
when
that
something
they could change everything. Yeah.
So that they could change
I don't know when
everything.
that thing is coming out in digital.
Exactly.
I heard, they're gonna just remove them from
this month. That's what I heard. End of February.
I heard it might take 6 months, and that was an over exaggeration.
So wait, okay. From release or from now?
From point of release. From point of release.
No fucking way.
And I was like, that's not. That doesn't have to be
in
true,
a pandemic.
right?
Absolutely fucking not.
Maybe they said within 6 months.
Within 6
maybe
months.
That's what they said. So that's like maybe they.
That's a very low bar. Then
my bet is on.
You know, they could release an additional within the next 10 years. I will be right when I say that. That is accurate. That's technically correct.
That is technically accurate. Within 1 year is accurate. I think they'll release it after the Batman, like mid-March.
I can see March, yeah.
Or like,
or what if they release it on
mid-March,
digital just to fucking undercut the Batman? I'd be pissed.
It's not big enough to undercut the Batman. I think the discussion for the Batman.
Did you say Spider-Man No Way Home is not big?
I said the digital release is not as big.
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I was about Mithi, what fucking multiverse are you from?
No.
That movie made a money, right? Like that made like $2 billion.
It made 5 monies, and that's it. You know, that's what it made.
Yeah. Only 5 people went to see it.
I think they're gonna like let the Batman be the thing for like half a week and release it on like that Tuesday.
I don't think they'll let the Batman be the thing. I think it's just a matter of
not as in.
Also, okay, we're also thinking they don't give a shit about when the Batman comes
We're
out.
over through it.
They don't give a shit.
They don't
about
care.
That. They give a shit about just what's the regular time we wait to release a movie on Blu-ray, and there you go.
Yeah, and then just put it out. Matters, yeah, because they're gonna schedule it with their other Marvel shit. That's what they more care about. I don't know what the schedule for Marvel is for the next like 6 months, because all I know is Moon Knight, and that's it. So
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah. What else did we all do this past week, Cole? What did you do this past week?
What have you been up to?
Well, this past week,
or it doesn't have to be week, by the way. If you just did anything interesting you want to talk about since you were born.
Well, really, the last 2 weeks I've been playing through both of the Last of Us games, which I never played before.
That's it. So there we go. Check that off too. Cool. Check that off the list.
Yeah.
So we've gone through Snyder's Justice League. We're gonna do Star Wars. We're talking about The Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
Oh boy, we're really going into it today.
No. Yeah. Hey, we are.
This is gonna be great.
This is a controversial.
We're not even, I have a whole rant in my head about Snyder's Justice League, which not a bad movie, but wasn't really. We don't even I have a very hot take. We don't even need to touch that, and I forgot that.
Well, I know your take is that the hot dog scene is the best scene in the movie, right?
No, the best scene in the movie is the scene where he says he's gonna fucking kill the Joker or something. That's the best scene.
And then it's when the Joker says, "I'll give you a reach around."
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, the Suicide Squad was so much worse than this."
Why the fuck are we talking about the Snyder Cut so much today?
Because it's always relevant.
Listen.
It is always relevant, yeah.
I really only have good things to say about The Last of Us game, which might be a bit of a controversial thing. I mean, the first one, not really, but Last of Us 2 is I'm not going to spoil anything. It was a game that I would understand if people didn't like some decisions that it made. At least, especially with how it's structured specifically. It's Troy, the first thing I did after I finished playing the game.
Oh, don't watch my video on it's bad. That's my videos on it. That's a bad video. That's one of my weaker ones. I'm gonna be real. I'm not a huge fan of that one because I didn't realize just because I rushed that thing out and then I didn't look at anything. I finished the game in a whole day, and I didn't realize just how awful it was, how awful and vitriolic the discourse was. And I was like, oh boy, I should have addressed that a little bit because I addressed it a little bit, but I didn't realize it was that bad. Like I didn't realize what people
You
had
did like
issues
right
with.
as you finished it too, right?
Yeah, I was
you
like,
didn't
my
like
mindset was
wait.
like, I gotta finish this. I gotta get this out as soon as possible, and then it didn't even do
Yeah.
well. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because I know you released your video and then Cosmonaut released his video like around the same time, and then like people were giving him shit. And it was just like a whole thing
Yeah.
of
like,
so many people doing so many Last of Us videos. But I
yeah.
guess that makes sense.
And like obviously anyone's criticism of the game, it's like, oh, gay characters and trans characters in it, so it's bad. Like, yeah, like screw you. Like
Yeah,
that's not valid.
there's an easy way
Like,
to
you can,
tune people out with this game.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I just was so absorbed, especially in the second game. Like
Yeah.
even when, because there were multiple points in the story where I was like, oh wait, I don't know if I'm gonna love where I think this is going. And then like with enough time, I was like, oh shit, this game has me even more. Like I'm the type of person that when I like fall into something, I really fall into something. And like The Last of Us has just consumed my brain for like the last 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
like honestly, it is a little bit early because I literally beat the game like a day or two ago.
Mm.
But like I think Last of Us Part 2 is one of my favorite video games of all time. And like I don't say that lightly, but like it really I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a great
I'm
game. I think
pretty
like
interested.
Jakey's video on
Yeah.
it, Nikki Jakey's video on it, I think like is very accurate. It like it's a complicated thing. It's like there are the two sides right now. It's like
It's a valid video, right?
yeah, it's like there are
Yeah.
two sides of like game bad, and everybody in that camp, not everybody, but a lot of people in that camp are like, it's because SJWs, gay people, like that shit. And then it's like game is best game ever fucking made because and it's flawless, and it's like there's really no middle ground in the conversation. And I'd rather just be in like, okay, it's a good game, you know. But like, yeah,
For me, like I honestly like I think it's a masterpiece, but I don't mean that in the sense that like it's flawless.
Yeah.
Because like I this is a shock. I'm actually gonna bring up Dark Souls a little
that's
briefly.
so
But
unlike
like
you.
Dark Souls 1, like is very flawed. Like it has
Mhm.
plenty of issues, especially in the second half, just because they ran out of development time. So it's not perfect. Like, but like it's still a masterpiece because like the holistic experience, overall experience is special, and
Yeah,
that's kind
and
of
you
how I
have
feel
like an
about The
emotional
Last of Us
connection to
Part
those
Two, where
games.
like
I know for
yeah,
sure.
there are issues with it. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, and like it really had and still has its hooks on me. Like I already want to go back and replay it on a harder difficulty
yeah,
because I just played on normal just to kind of like get the story and just kind of like really like because I feel like the gameplay would shine on like a harder difficulty where it's like, oh, resources are
that's
really
true.
scarce kind
I
of thing.
played
And
it kind of on like I didn't play it on easy mode, but I played it with like a lot of the accessibility options on, just because I was like, I know I'm emotionally going to be stressed right now by with what the story is. I don't want to be like physically in terror when I'm like fucking trying, when I'm like in the combat and stuff. I want to have fun in the combat at least, and the combat is as brutal as it is. It's quite fun, and that's kind of
yeah,
what Jakey talks
it's
about, where it's
great.
like the game will have really fun combat that it's like, hey, isn't it so much fun to kill people? And then turn around and be like, what a fucking lunatic, what's wrong with you? And it's not an issue with the game, it's just an issue with like how gamer brains work, and it's a commentary on that. It's very clearly a
But
commentary
I
on
think
that.
like
Yeah.
I started watching his video, but a few minutes in, he's like, "Oh,
It's a
spoilers
long
for
ass video.
Uncharted as
Yeah.
well." Shit, I haven't
Okay,
played
that's
those games.
that joke is absolutely worth it
That's
though. That joke is 100%
Yeah,
worth that spoiler.
and I know I'm gonna play them eventually,
Yeah.
but like I do think it's a totally valid criticism of like, yeah, like if you spend the whole game killing people and like, maybe it's kind of hard for it to be like the message like, oh man, killing and revenge is bad if like like
If the game makes it
you
fun.
spend the whole, but like
Yeah.
and it is fun.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think what's crazy to me is like despite that, I still love the
Yeah.
game wholeheartedly. And I think that's just a testament to the animators and the voice actors and
Technically
the
it is
writers.
probably like the most impressive game of last generation by miles. And you could there's some ethical stuff about like crunch and stuff with Naughty Dog. Like I remember it was pretty like hearing some stuff, but like just on terms of animation, like the AI, all that stuff, it's fucking phenomenal. Just from it, it really all comes down to story. I think is what people have
Because
issues with.
it's like that Red Dead and like maybe God of War, right? Or like what kind of people turn to as like these are the games
Even thing,
for
Red Dead
like
2, I've got issues
what
with. I'm not a huge fan of Red Dead 2, and I know that's controversial, but that's a whole other podcast. Red Dead 2 is very slow, and Red Dead 1 is. I much prefer Red Dead 1. I love Red Dead 1. That's just me.
Red Dead 1 is like one of my, I wouldn't say like my all-time favorites, but like it's up there, and I haven't played Red Dead 2. One of the random detail about Last of Us 2, but there's like just a scene where like it's like a flashback where like you're not a spoiler, but like you're just playing as Ellie and there's just a mirror and you can just like make really goofy faces
It's the
in the
best.
mirror.
It's
and I was
insane.
just like, oh my god,
it's insane.
Like, yeah,
Like
like,
the rigging on the faces is absurd. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how in Spider-Verse when like Miles is like, hey, and he just makes a really weird, like distinctive face that like I haven't really ever seen before in animation? That's kind of how I felt about a lot of like, especially that scene that just made me think of that. Of like, this is just so real. Not in terms of like, yeah, it was awesome. And like that stuff alone I think is worth it to play for that, but it certainly is a game that's not gonna be for everybody. It's a really bold sequel, and I respect that.
Yeah.
And also, Jesus man, that game hits you hard. It really does.
Oh,
like
yeah.
at least
Yeah.
it hit me hard.
Yeah. No, I very
Naughty
much
Naughty
agree.
Dog games are those. Naughty Dog games are those games that like I feel like they're right up my alley based on what I like about the Arkham games and what I like about Spider-Man games and what I like about other games. Where I feel like these games should be exactly what I want. I just never have played any of
Yeah.
them.
Well, because you don't have a
fully through.
PS4.
Like I played a
You don't
little
have the
bit.
console.
I don't, and
Yeah, that's my fault.
like I understand from because I've seen people because I watched like the whole Last of Us Part 2 like walkthrough shit like through YouTubers I watch, and like I can see why people have negative feelings. I can see why people have positive feelings. I just want to play the game though, just to like sit down, play both back to back, and then understand. Okay, this is what I understand about the story. So.
It is a thing that I think like, or I don't know, I just thought of this randomly, but like with like I don't know, something like Halo where like the story isn't super important I don't mean that in the sense that, like the story's not important, but like the gameplay does most of the talking.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I feel like I think like the Halo games are like if you just watch the cutscenes or watch a walkthrough on YouTube, you'd still get the gist of the overall
Versus
experience.
Last of Us is one of those. It's Last of Us is a similar, ironically, like Breath of the Wild, which is the exact opposite type of game. Is it like you can't experience Breath of the Wild by watching somebody play it, and you can't experience Last of Us 2, like good or bad, by just watching somebody else or watching somebody talk about it. It's one of those things, and that's part of what makes the gaming like medium perfect for storytelling is that everything is an individual experience. You know, like my little gripes with The Last of Us 2, I think I've seen a lot of people be like, that's their favorite part of the game. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's cool. That's sick. You know, like gameplay wise, I mean, like in terms of like, I can't shiv a clicker anymore. I'm like, God fucking damn it. Where'd the shivs go? I'm mad about the shivs. I missed the shivs. That's really it. Where'd they go?
Dude,
I was pissed.
Dude, I
was like, God fucking damn it. I lost my whole upgrade tree right now. I'm like, I know that's the point, but I'm like, fuck, man. I got so used to this. You know,
literally, like I was both like, man, this is great like playing as Ellie and just being like, I don't have to worry about my shivs right now because dude, like I'm not exaggerating.
Fuck that
I think
in the
like
first
90%
game. Fuck
of the
that. That was such a pain in the ass.
Last of Us 1 were just clickers that I just didn't have it. Like it's just I didn't have the upgrade where you can shiv them when they grab you. So it's like, well, I just die now. And like whereas The Last of Us 2 is very different.
Yeah.
But
with
then,
me, not to
like going
there's a lot more
I was gonna
talk
spoilers, but never mind. We could talk about it later.
Yeah. We can and that's literally like more or less all I've been up to the last 2 weeks. So.
That's fair, yeah. I've been speaking of games, I've been playing the fuck out of Pokemon, man. Holy fuck, that game's good.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that game is way too good for what it is. That game was supposed to suck. This game's great. I'm like
it's like Breath of the Wild but Pokemon, right?
That's the idea. It like visually it's trying to be Breath of the Wild. That's an ugly ass fucking game. It's hideous. It is like the ugliest. It's worse than a PS2 game. I'm sorry. It's disgusting.
Really? Okay.
It's a disgust. The water shaders in this game.
Low praise.
Have you seen? Did you guys grow up in the era of like Cole? I don't remember how old you are. I don't think Mithi grew up in this era, but like Xbox Live indie games. Like the Xbox arcade games with like where the water textures were just like these single panels that were just repeating constantly. It looks like that. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, this came out in 2022 and I've seen what the Switch can do. I know what the Switch, I know it's underpowered, but like, fuck. But aside from that, it's like a fantastic game. It's more like Monster Hunter than Pokemon, than Breath of the Wild. I'd say like, I don't know how to describe it. Cole, you would dig it because the bosses are very Dark Souls-ish in terms of like the way you move around. Ironically,
because you roll and shit, right?
Yeah, you roll. There's a dodge. There's a dodge roll in a Pokemon game. They decided, let's have a whole button dedicated to rolling. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that feels Dark Soulsy.
probably will get to it eventually because
Yeah.
like I really like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
really enjoy it. I've
It's the
recently
shit
gotten
that the
into like
series needed,
Pokemon
and for sure. Like, I wasn't huge on Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Like, it was like it's, again, there's some issues and stuff, but like
Yeah.
overall, it's like, fuck, this is a breath of fresh air, just with what this franchise is, and like the little things of like, you can now like the fact you can walk around during a battle changes the whole fucking feel of combat. Like, it makes you actually feel like you're a trainer just telling an animal what to do, you know. And like you have to, if you're in a battle and you're in between two Pokemon and one decides to use Hyper Beam, you get hit with the Hyper Beam. Like, it's fucking rad. It's like
Wait, so
it's
you can die.
You can die in a Pokemon game, yeah. If you like, so normally.
Why was I so excited about
No, I know.
that?
Like, so, and now it's blacking out, aside from if you're in like a boss, and I haven't died. It's a hard game, but also relatively easy if you like play it smart, because like you one shot mostly every combat you're like prepared for, but like you also can get one shotted if you're like not a good type match. So it's very much like a glass cannon type situation. But if you're out like in the wild and stuff and you like black out in terms of like losing like Pokemon, you don't instantly die. You get taken out of the battle and you have to run away. Physically, you have to run back to the place and shit. And if you get
that feels more like what's the word for it? More engaging, I guess.
It's definitely
instead of just like button clicking.
Yeah, and you can like
mechanic where you have to like.
Wait, sorry, what?
Is it like a corpse running mechanic where like you have to like run back like?
No. There's a little bit of like you pick up other people's. So if you as a trainer have your own health bar, and the Pokemon, if they all faint, you get taken out of the battle if it's a wild thing, and then the wild stuff will just attack you. And so if you get hit by enough shit, you just black out and you lose like half of your items or something. You lose like a chunk of stuff. And the way you recover it is with like some online thing, like you recover other people's stuff, and like if somebody else recovers your thing, you know. But like I'm fucking like just like other little things, like fucking you can choose when to evolve somebody. Like it'll just be a little ping, and it'll be like, this person's ready to, or this guy's ready to evolve, and you just say, okay, you know, just go ahead whenever you're ready. So
That's nice. So that way you don't have to mash the B button when they're evolving, or you don't have to get an episode.
Yeah, and like I fucking love it. I'm like I played it like not. It's I'm gonna be real. The fucking Spider-Man video would have been out a week earlier if not for that fucking game. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it came out at least, so. I want to get more into Pokemon. I want to get more into Pokemon games. I just haven't because it's not something I grew up with, but I should.
It's one of those properties that's like very much a nostalgic thing.
Is this something that I can just play to get into it? Like, do I need to be like a Pokemon
I think
person?
so. It's because it's so different. You don't need to know really any. You just need to know like the rock paper scissors stuff mechanics wise. But like what's really nice is the game tells you. The game will like if you hover over a move, it'll be like, this will be super effective, you know, or this won't be effective at all. So it's like you don't have to keep referring back to like some book or some like website just to see the charts. It's very user friendly in that respect, but it also doesn't hold your hand after the hour-long tutorial, which is way too fucking long. But like,
yeah, okay,
I really dig it.
That's actually good to hear.
I'm like obsessed with it. The only thing I don't like is I don't like Decidueye's final form. That's like my favorite Pokemon, and he looks because the regular Decidueye looks like Green Arrow, and the new one does not, and I don't like it. And I'm very upset.
And you just want the regular one,
I just want Green Arrow.
I think about getting a Switch over the course of, or like at least for like spring break or something like that. But I don't know, maybe I will. Why can't I operate Discord in the middle of the call? Edit server profile. There we go. I'm gonna change my
NFT. This plus the NFT stuff. Discord maybe isn't good for podcasts. I don't know how.
Yeah, maybe it's not.
This might have been a mistake. Oh well.
See, here we go. This is something so much less controversial. I should not get any more shit for this. Oh my fucking god!
You know? Oh Jesus Christ!
There we go. I should not get in trouble, right? I should. I don't think I should.
Oh boy.
That's a pretty significant step up, but it's also
it's more relevantly more relevantly controversial.
Yeah, so like about Twitter links, you know, and Twitter quote retweets. Quote retweets are good, right? That's what quote retweets mean. It means that it's good because more people are commenting. Mm-hmm. That's the idea with the quote retweet. I think that's what quote retweets means. I don't know. I just tweeted something really controversial.
Ironically, with the Spider-Man video, I'm always scared to look at quote retweets, but I did. all positive, pretty nice, or at least the ones that I saw. Maybe they're private. I don't fucking know, but pretty good.
Yeah.
But you do anything with?
I mean, I will say I really
on
like the new
we've been
video.
on this what we've done thing for a while, and I want to talk
Oh
shit
yeah,
about
that's
Star Wars.
right. What did I do? Okay. I'll say one last thing before we talk shit about Star Wars. I read Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys read Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane?
I have not.
Is that a new thing? Wait, I've never heard of this.
No, it's old. It's old. I thought it was new, but it's old. It's like a Mary Jane focused book with Spider-Man.
Oh,
and I didn't realize how Mary Jane.
The name sounds familiar. Wait, is this like a? Wait, is
this
like
is the one where they're? Yes, this is the manga type thing.
I haven't read it, but I've seen it at the store, and I've been like, oh, cool, but I haven't read it.
Yes, I read it. I'm not gonna say I don't like it because that would be a lie. I do like a good amount of it.
Mm-hmm.
There are okay. It's not like Euphoria. It's like really PG Euphoria because everything is Euphoria now. Literally everything is Euphoria now, right? I'm very, very sorry. Everyone is giving me the silent treatment, and I probably deserve it.
No,
keep going. No, keep going, Mithi. Keep digging into this hole. I need to see where this goes.
These kids are so fucking petty, and like I get that makes sense because it's high school, but I'm like. Okay, come on. Can I get a little bit of the Spider-Man?
There is a line where I'm like, I noticed this a lot with like the home trilogy of Spider-Man. I know that now we're really getting controversial with this. This is the best episode. Yeah. A lot of like issues people would be like, I don't really like this dialogue, and then somebody will be like, what, they're kids, and it's like, yeah, that applies for some things, and if it's intentional, but other times it's like this was written by an adult. So it's like you can't always excuse somebody sounding dumb or being dumb as just being kids,
just for the sake of them.
Just as like kids. It's like because it's like if that were the case, then I'd only write high school stories, because then I could be like I could absolve all problems away and be like, they're children.
It's just they can do whatever the fuck they want. Yeah, it's not like it's a bad story. It's good. And I can see how it's more realistic. It's a more realistic version of high school because of how it's written. Mm-hmm. And like that's cool. It's a little bit much sometimes, to the point where it's like they're basically saying MJ is like a complete flirt towards the middle of the book. And it's like, all right, she's also in high school. And it just feels weird that is the subject matter. And as I was reading it, I'm like, should I be reading this? I just wanted to read this because like cute Spider-Man Mary Jane moments. And then it became like just a full Mary Jane in high school book. And that's just not what I was expecting. So I think part of that is in the back of my head of like, I just didn't go into this expecting it to be as focused on high school as it was. Because I expected more Spider-Man stuff. And there's like barely any fucking Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah,
like literally there's barely any Spider-Man
MJ's
stuff.
A character that's very difficult to write for. It's very difficult to write MJ solo stuff. And like, because it's like she's such an old character. And like her foundation, literally her first fucking line is "Face it, Tiger, you've hit the jackpot," in parentheses, because I'm such a sexy woman.
That defines her character.
And it's like it's such an iconic moment, and it's a great scene, but it's like, fuck, that's really hard to do in a modern era, And it's very difficult to like maintain that character, because she's become very nuanced, but it's really fucking easy to write her. Like, do you know if that book was written by a man or a woman?
I think it was written by a man. The other thing is, my other good comparison for it is like, imagine if Ultimate Spider-Man was only about the high school stuff.
I would kind of like that, gonna be real. But that's just
kind of what it's like.
I fully am willing to admit I have shit taste, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been reading, because I've been keeping up with the Geek Explain book club, and I've somehow restrained myself to not read ahead, but like I finished volume 5 of Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't know if this is a hot take. Ultimate Spider-Man is really good.
It's a good book.
It's good.
Yeah. I got my issues with it from a social perspective, but yeah, as a book, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm such a buzzkill today. I'm ruining everybody's day. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's a good book.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah. And I really like the whole MJ Peter dynamic, at least up to this point, where it's like, it does feel so fresh from like, this is not the same tired, like, because like I guess minor spoilers for Ultimate Spider-Man, like a 20-year-old comic, is that okay? Is that allowed?
No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I think what you're talking about, everybody knows by now by the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love that Peter just like tells MJ that he's Spider-Man like pretty early
Very
on.
early, yeah. And
Completely
it's super
changes
fresh,
their
yeah.
whole dynamic in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
And like the last volume I read where like you really get to see like the impact of Peter being Spider-Man and all the craziness that comes with that on MJ and how she's like actually a character with her own motivations
Yeah.
and goals and issues. And I'm just like, this is really awesome. Even though there's also some stuff where I'm like, oh man, this is not age
great. This is from the early 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like
other than stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
that's
Yeah,
Ultimate Spider-Man rules. That's I kind of started to interrupt Mithi, but you know.
Doug Cole is frozen right now.
So
That's very funny.
Cole is frozen for me too. His video is loading. Oh no.
Oh no, Discord.
Is it still loading?
I can't trust Discord anymore. You know what?
Yeah.
Discord. This is strike 3, man.
There we go.
First, you're back. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Yeah.
The title. I was gonna do some like catchy title about Star Wars for this one, but now it's just gonna be like struggling with Discord for an hour and a half.
Discord is worse than Star Wars.
Discord is worse than.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
There we go.
It should be had.
It's not. But it's clickbait.
There we go.
I think Ultimate Spider-Man is like, other than the stuff that ages badly because it's the 2000s, is extremely strong with its MJ stuff and like the way that they depict the relationship between those two characters. And yes, Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane has a good element of that. But it gets to the point where Peter is always just a fucking nerd. And, like, he doesn't feel more three-dimensional than that. Every time you cut back to Peter, he's like, well, I'm going to explain this biology thing, because that's the only fucking thing I ever know how to talk about. And I'm like,
I love flanderized Peter Parker that only likes science. My favorite version of Peter is the one that hates art and only enjoys science. It only knows. It only talks about. I love when personally. I love when Peter Parker is Sheldon Cooper.
That's what it feels like. That is genuinely the first few issues of Spider-Man stuff feels like that.
And like I haven't read the book, so I don't know for sure with that specifically. But like I know the Marvel Spider-Man animated show, it definitely like because it tried to lean really hard into the STEM stuff. Like it's a very we've talked about this before. I really don't like when people.
It's like Sheldon took a lot of cocaine. That's what fucking Marvel Spider-Man is.
Yeah,
he's just overly energetic.
Yeah,
it's like okay.
The reason, like, I haven't really seen that show, but I can't get into it just because Peter Parker doesn't say bazinga whenever he defeats a villain.
It would really be so much better for the character, you know?
Yeah, they should have done that when he had the symbiote, but they never did. So
I should have done that in my video.
Bazinga.
Bazinga. But no, I think, like, what you're talking about with the MJ Peter stuff in Ultimate, I feel like that book, that relationship is fantastic because what you were saying, MJ is her own character with her own stuff outside of just helping Peter, but she also is involved in the main narrative, which makes her like relevant and stuff. I feel like people took that and took the wrong, not bad people, I mean like storytellers and like companies and stuff, took that and took the wrong fucking lessons from that. Because like MJ in Ultimate is not great just because she's involved in superhero stuff and helping Peter. It's because she's her own character and stuff. But it's like the Flash, like you have to assume that like that was an inspiration for like the Team Flash and fucking Ned and fucking like all these like guy in the chair type role, like Felicity and like these like the team superhero teams, and like even like Gwen and Tasm to an extent. She's a great character, but like she is kind of only existing in the story to help Spider-Man for a lot of the scenes.
Gwen in the TASM series is very Ultimate MJ.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe there are other references for that too.
And she's fantastic in TASM 1, I think. I think TASM 2, she's much more. She has her like Harvard or Yale plotline or whatever, and then she's just I helped Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Yep.
And I know people will always like compare her with Raimi MJ, and be like Raimi MJ doesn't help Peter at all, as if that makes the character less valuable. And it's like that's not why Ultimate MJ is great. It's not because she helps Peter. It's because she's a well-defined character that she gets a good amount of time in the story with. It's you know, I don't know. MJ's a difficult character to write for in a modern way without completely redoing her, I think.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's right. You know? Did you ever read stuff past you never read all of them?
I never finished.
Right? You never read
I think I read up to I think I finished the Doc Ock stuff. That's as far as I can remember. I'm going through it again right now. I want to go through Eric's book club and stuff.
Dude, it's a blast.
Yeah, how far are they right now? You said volume 5?
They're only on volume 5.
Okay, I think that might be about it.
I mean, they're not that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't go that far then.
Yeah, no, I still dig Ultimate. My issue is with Ultimate. I'd say it in the video. It's like people will always frame it as like this is the first Spider-Man comic you should read, and this defines the characters.
Yeah.
It's defining characters, and it's like I saw a TikTok that was like read Ultimate Spider-Man and then JMS and then this. And it's like don't do that because these are radically different versions. Like fucking Ultimate Gwen, you're gonna get a completely different understanding of Gwen.
Dude.
Ultimate Black Cat. The reason I am so bothered by like the Black Cat throwing up stuff is, which I don't know if that's how far you are in that, Cole.
I
like
haven't.
That's a great little moment.
It's a great little moment, and like people always get mad at me when I talk about it. By people, I mean Austin, my friend, who was the co-host of this podcast for a while. But it's like that scene by making Felicia like 25 and Peter 15.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And what it does is it basically says that the Felicia Peter relationship is destined to not be a healthy, good relationship. And so then if you jump from Ultimate to 616 and you see Peter and MJ talking about how they had a good relationship, it's like you instinctually like, oh, what the fuck? Because you think that she's 10 years older when in reality she's like 1 year older, you know? And it just kind of, it's like I was never even that big of a fan of the Black Cat relationship until the PS4 game like kind of recontextualized some things for me, and
first
And
you
didn't read Mary Jane and Andrew Garfield Beyond #1. That's what it's called.
I hate you. No,
I
hate you so much.
But you did not read it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what's this in reference to. You're crazy. You should cut off all your friends.
Yeah, but you didn't. Yeah, you didn't read that, right?
No, I didn't. No, I haven't read. I've been playing Pokemon and editing that video, and so now I'm just playing Pokemon, and I gotta read some books. I'm so far behind.
I'm reading more comics than you have. I caught up with Dark Knights of Steel. Dark Knights of Steel was. Yeah. You didn't read it. You didn't read it yet.
I just said I don't read books.
No, yeah, that's. I'm gonna keep asking anyway because I'm a dumbass. New Dark Knights of Steel is also really good.
I like that series a lot. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I need to read the new Superman. I need to read the new John. I know a lot of people don't like it, but fuck it. I am one of those people. I figured this out. I figured this out by talking with Evan and Anne and like seeing what they were saying about new books and stuff. You know those people that are like every movie is good. They just enjoy watching movies. I am like that, but for comics. I'm just like, this book's good. Yeah. Book is good unless if it's like Heroes in Crisis and it's like legitimately offensive or written by a racist or something. Tom King, you know, like unless if I'm like genuinely like, oh, this fucking sucks for like meta reasons or for like very obvious reasons, I'm like, this book's fun. I have a great time reading the John Superman run, and like I know people don't love it, but I really like it, and I even like the shitty Aquaman Green Arrow book. I know it's not good, but I love it. I'm that my standards are that fucking low. I just if I see Green Arrow, I'm like, I fucking love this guy. I fucking love this.
For me, it's either good.
This fucking guy.
For me, it's either it's
fucking love him.
Of course you have it, you motherfucker.
I have it right on hand.
For me, it's either a book is good or a book is. What the fuck did you do? Oh, you just dropped it from.
I just dropped him. He fell off the podium.
Yeah. For me, a book is either good or it's boring, and like occasionally it'll be bad, like Three Jokers. But like other than that, it's just.
Even Three Jokers. Talking about.
There's Three Jokers. It's triple the joke.
And that means, one of them is Willem Dafoe, the other one's fucking Phoenix. It's the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's nice to read comics. I've been trying to catch up with. I just like jumped into Williamson Batman with no context, no nothing.
Moore's doing the art of the Mark Waid stuff, which that's gonna be fucking awesome. That book's gonna be fantastic.
I don't know who's doing the art. Whoever's doing the art is good at it. I don't know who it is. I just know Williamson's writing it. I'm jumping into it, no context. So I don't know who the fuck the other Batman are. I don't know what the fuck is going on with like Lex
Jason
Luthor
stuff?
and Al. This is not Jason's stuff. This is different than Jason's.
No, Jace.
It's like a guy.
Is he black?
No.
It's not black?
No. This is like a team of Batmen.
Oh,
like Batman
sorry.
of China.
Because I'm not following anything either.
Batman.
I only know.
Oh yes, Batman of China rules.
Yeah, Batman of China.
Batman of China's sick. Yeah, I like that character.
Yeah, it's like Batman of China. It's like a what's the Rosie something, the girl with who's in the poster or whatever her name is. Imagine that, but a guy that's Batman.
Wait. Rosie the Riveter is Batman? Wait, that would be sick.
Yeah, like it's a guy that looks like Rosie the Riveter, but he's Batman.
Is it Knuckle Duster from My
I know
Hero
it sounds
Academia
so
Vigilantes?
perhaps. I don't know. It just feels like a weird mesh of a bunch of people who have that related paraphernalia, and they're in the book, and it's supposed to be a big part. They're like the new Batman Inc., I think, and it's confusing, and I don't get it, but it's somewhat entertaining, so I've been catching up on it.
I'm so far behind on Batman.
Yeah.
I'm only reading.
Okay, I'm throwing things out here, but comics are fun. I'm getting more into them again.
I'm happy to read them.
Nice.
I think it's because I feel better than everybody else when I read comics. I'm like, ho, I'm better than 98% of Twitter right now because I'm looking at the pictures and reading the words.
Because I read it.
Because I read the because that panel that people took out of context, I read the context, and it's actually not that bad.
I said
did I ever talk about the Robin and Batman book by Lemire?
We never talked about that.
I think I missed
that.
That book's fucking sick. That book's fucking awesome, and Twitter was mad about it, and that book's fucking rad. I love that book.
I was one of the people that thought I was mad about it, and then you said it's better, and I'm like, great. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
That book is like my favorite Batman thing that's come out in a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's like...
You have to admit that looks bad out of context.
Sure, but then why would you take it out of context? Maybe that's crazy. When you take a story moment out of context, it doesn't look great. Whoa, that's fucking sick.
That's true. That is true.
Like anything we've discussed in the podcast that was taken out of context, like the last.
We really hope. Let's really hope none of the beginning was taken out of context.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
Comics
Robin and Batman by Lemire and Ewan is fantastic. Like it's like everything I want in a Batman book, and like he starts as a piece of shit, and it's like Frank Miller All-Star Batman type guy. If like you're a soldier, you're in a war, and he fucking It's literally a commentary on that. Like he grows and he realizes like, wait, I can't treat this kid, this my like son as like a soldier. I need to treat him like a boy and like a son. And it's like it's fucking great. I love when Batman is treated like a flawed individual because he's an inherently flawed.
Who grows over time
because he's problematic because he doesn't use his money for infrastructure. He just beats up poor people.
Yeah, and he doesn't beat poor people. Yeah, exactly. You say as you wear a Nightwing shirt.
Yeah, it's why Nightwing's better. Because Nightwing's a billionaire and he's giving it all away.
Because he left his ass. What? But yeah, there's another fucking comics thing related. Oh yeah, remember last episode I think I talked about how the Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2 are like 5 movies?
Yeah.
And like that's it. I take that back. Long Halloween Part 1, a good movie. Yep. Even great movie.
Pretty good.
Long Halloween Part 2, fuck, I was wrong. That's a really good movie.
Fuck Jeff Loeb, but they're good movies.
This is true, and Jeff Loeb wasn't involved, so I think
so
I
it's like you have to assume like he gets a little bit because it's his book. But like he wasn't involved creatively, to my understanding. So it's like
Beyond that, what they do with Falcone in that book with Bruce, because I think that's new, unless that's also in the original comic. There is a direct tie in the movie between Falcone and Bruce as a kid. And that is my favorite fucking thing to ever be added to like Batman.
I do remember
because
that scene.
I don't think that's in the book. I don't think it's in the book.
I can't remember. I haven't read the book in like a long
time. I want to believe it's not in the book, and I believe it's in because there's a line that he tells him about like all we get is all we take or something like that, and that's like a theme that's resonant for the entire like 2 movies, both of them. And I really like what they do with Falcone in that movie. I want to revisit that again sometime because. Not that the Batman has to copy what that movie did with Falcone, but there's a way to make this like comically Italian mobster be an actual like father figure to Bruce. And I think that's very interesting and has a lot of potential where he's like, this is a bad guy, but like my dad helped him for a good reason. And there are repercussions to that. The movie has its problems. It's a little bit too slow and it distracts itself sometimes. The
editing is rough in those movies. We've talked about
editing is very rough. Yeah. You can just cut the 2 together and then make a
2.5 hour thing out of those 2 90-minute movies.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And
go ahead, actually.
I think that's something that the movie does that everyone has been sleeping on, and maybe I'll make a video on it or something because there's a lot of things to be said about the way Bruce treats Falcone.
Most people were talking about the ending in comparison to the book, but like because I don't remember anything.
Yeah,
like I know what you're talking about in the movie, but I can't remember if the book did that or not.
The focus of the movie becomes less about who is Holiday and more
it's very obvious who
why
is
Holiday.
It's incredibly obvious from the moment the fucking story starts.
Yeah,
It's not a
exactly.
good mystery.
So
I know it's like the best detective comic for Batman. It's not. It's not a good mystery.
It's
super
fine.
obvious. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But yeah,
What,
that's my updated
did you have
thoughts
something
on.
you
I'm
wanted to say,
sorry.
Cole?
Just
You had something. You were saying something.
yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like it's been years since I read Long Halloween, and like I don't really plan on revisiting
Yep.
it ever for obvious reasons. But like
Yeah.
I don't remember that story being long enough to be like, oh yeah, this should be like 2 movies.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's just one. It should be just one movie.
Yeah.
And even the way the first movie ends, it's like this is where I mean, like okay,
it's
I
just
guess,
it
but
really is just like cut down the middle. It's very strange. I blame Harry
yeah,
Potter for these
exactly.
things.
Yeah.
Man, Harry Potter just the downfall of society. You know what else is the downfall of society? Robot actors.
Here we go. Robot.
We're gonna talk a little
actors
bit.
that don't exist.
We're gonna talk about a little bit of spoilers for Book of Boba Fett. I have not actually seen the show. I've seen the first few episodes, and I'm far behind on it.
Yeah.
I've seen the relevant clips of the new episode. But if you don't want to get spoiled, this will probably be the last thing we talk about. So if you don't want to talk, if you don't want that, go ahead. But we're gonna talk about society and the industry and how we live in a goddamn dystopia and man-made horrors of horrors of my own creation that I can't comprehend.
And I'm also going to talk about episode 5 because there are things to say about episode 5.
Yeah,
I can spoil that, right?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it eventually. I've just only seen the you know what stuff. So if anybody doesn't want spoilers, get the fuck out of here. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Let me start with episode 5 just to be a little bit.
So episode 6 was the new one, right?
Episode 6 is the new one. Episode 5 is the one right before. I have not watched a single episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Not a single episode until last week.
I love having
experts.
I love the experts on this podcast.
I know. Yeah, I'm a real expert here. I just jumped in because CJ told me you could just watch episode 5 without watching anything else.
Oh, because it's like
and
a
I was like,
episode,
okay,
right?
because it's just the Mandalorian.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
There's nothing else. It's just the Mandalorian. And so I didn't expect anything. I just sat down and watched it. I think it's my favorite thing Star Wars has ever done.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
It is just Din going around scrambling for parts for shit to be able to get the money to be able to buy a jet to go and visit Grogu. That's the entire episode. It is such a simple premise, and it is the most like it feels like Logan, but like nice. You know? It feels like a peaceful Logan. That's what it feels like. It's just him going around.
Off the show in like episode 3, so I just need to catch up and stuff. But that's cool. It's interesting. So is this show is basically just Mandalorian season 2.5?
It basically it's just Star Wars. That's what it is now. It's just they want to do a Star Wars thing. They do it in a
Star Wars show. That's great. Love that.
They did.
You know.
Yeah, I don't like that. And it's like, but like that episode alone, I was like, this is perfect. This is what I wanted out of this character, and this is beautiful. And I just want them to do this for a whole season with this character.
I think Star Wars is at its best. Like, I know you didn't grow up with Star Wars, so like, you know, I definitely did. I was like a big Star Wars guy growing up. Star Wars is at its best when it's fucking not doing anything. When it's not trying to take itself like the prequels. I like those movies, and I know a lot of people are like very attached to them. I grew up with them. I like them, but like the issue I have with them is that they try too much. You know, they think that they're bigger than they really are. And the original trilogy, even the original Star Wars, is the most simple fucking movie. It is just space fantasy adventure where you go blow up a fucking moon at the end. You know, it's so simple and clean, and that's why I think it's so iconic.
And it's fun. Yeah.
It's fun, and there's serious moments, and there's depth, and there's lore, and like there's things that people want to pick apart. But on its fucking own, it's just a stoner movie from the 70s about space. And that's what I saw a TikTok that was like, I'm a Star Wars fan, but not in like a Disney adult way, but in like a 70s space movie kind of way. And I'm like, you know what? That's me. Actually, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because now it's become
episode 5, fucking beautiful. I suggest anyone who likes some part of The Mandalorian, just go watch it and don't watch anything else because it's fun and it's awesome. Then episode 6 happens.
Episode 6 happens. I also have not seen all of episode 6. I have seen the relevant.
I will tell you now, as someone who has watched the full episode, it's not all bad.
Okay.
Right? Because the episode can't just be all bad.
I'm sure the episode's very cool. I mean, I literally made a video saying this is what I want from a show. I literally made a whole ass video saying I want Ahsoka and Luke to be in a show together, and that's fucking rad that they're doing that. The issue is that it's fucking live action for me.
Also, the issue that I have is pardon my language here. I know cursing isn't allowed on the podcast.
No,
as a family
we're Christian.
No, it is. You can say.
Why the fuck is Luke Skywalker and Grogu and the Mandalorian and Ahsoka in a show called The Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Can we let
It's a strange choice.
If they
framed this as like, because Mandalorian season 2 ends with the credit scene just teasing Book of Boba Fett, which I didn't know at the time. I closed the episode, I was like, cool, and I go to Twitter and everybody's like, Book of Boba Fett. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But if they had just said Mandalorian season 3 is going to be called Book of Boba Fett, like, I think a lot of these complaints would be gone, and they just put it inside of the Mandalorian Disney Plus
thing. Yeah.
You know?
Even so, yeah, that makes sense. I think the issue that I have with it is that, like, Star Wars is incapable to me of, like, telling a standalone story. It is incapable of it. Like, this is something that I think I've thought about making a video about this for a long time, and I don't think I'm going to, just because,
don't make
like,
a Star Wars video. I'm going to tell you now, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, like,
just ask
you
Christian.
can ask Christian. He will tell you not to do it. Yeah.
But I think, like, it's an issue that any franchise, like any, the MCU or the DCU or any big franchise faces and has issues with to a certain extent, but that, like, it feels like the marketing team is writing the story rather than the writers.
Yeah.
And, like, my God, dude, like, I like season 2 of Mando, like, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of hated it. Not because it's, like, a bad show. Like, it's fun. It's entertaining. It's like, it looks good. It's, like, but it's so empty. It's so devoid to me of, like, having anything to say beyond, it's like the Leo DiCaprio meme where he's pointing, like, yeah, look, it's the guy it's Ahsoka, it's Boba Fett, who they did nothing interesting with in the entire season. And it's like, if the show where we're supposed to actually finally flesh out Boba Fett's character beyond being an action figure is just more, oh, look, it's Ahsoka and Luke. Why is Luke Skywalker still around?
Yeah.
Like,
it feels weird for him to still be around.
Yeah,
right? I saw a tweet.
I just want to clarify, like, I haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett, so maybe, like, if I saw the show, I might feel differently, but just based on what I've heard, which, like, maybe isn't the most fair assessment, but, like, I am super skeptical of Star Wars right now, and, like, there's a reason why I haven't watched Book of Boba Fett, not because I'm like, oh man, that has no potential or isn't interesting as a concept, it's just because I'm so turned off to the concept of Star Wars as something that, like, is not just obsessed with selling you the next show or pointing at the character, like, I just, after hearing, like, and, like, I know, like, I guess spoilers, like, I saw a screenshot on Twitter, like, oh, Cad Bane's in it, and, like, I haven't seen much of
honestly.
Clone Wars.
If only Cad Bane was in the fucking show, that would sell me. I fucking love that character, and that's a deep enough cut from just Clone Wars, Yeah, it's not really like, cool, it's not like, oh, remember the 1977 movie, it's remember the thing from 2012 that, like, it's a cut that's like, oh shit, that's fucking, and he fits inside of a Boba Fett show. Because
he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter, and I don't know if there was a cut Clone Wars arc about Boba Fett with Cad Bane that's fucking sick. It's like he gets the dent. That's how he gets the dent. It's fucking rad.
Yeah.
And it's like these. It's these small things. Like, I love Clone Wars. That's my Star Wars to me. Like, when I think of what Star Wars is, it's Clone Wars, and then, like, the good parts of Rebels, because there's a lot of bad parts of Rebels, but then there's also a lot of good parts of Rebels. But no, I totally agree with, like, it feels very commercial in, like, just showing off all this. And granted, what I've seen of Book of Boba Fett, the first 3 episodes, I think it very much does justify its existence as a Boba Fett show. I'm not one of those. I am one of those people that has been, Boba Fett is a cool character. I don't care that he only has 10 seconds of screen time. He's still a cool dude. I don't give a fuck. Fight me. He's a cool dude with cool armor, and he sounds cool. That's all that matters to me. And this show was the chance to be. This show is, and it is. It's saying, hey, this guy is a character despite just being a fucking action figure. And I know a lot of Star Wars fans were mad that he has depth. There were some Star Wars fans that were like, why is he a good person in the show? He's supposed to be a cold, hard badass. When it's like, no, he's a human being. He's a nice human being. He's a good character, and I really enjoy him. And maybe it's just because I really like Tamura Morrison, because Tamura Morrison fucking kills it, and he's super likable. And I really like Ming-Na Wen's character, who's Finnick. Like, I really like this stuff. I like the stuff that's Book of Boba Fett. And then when I heard about Cad Bane, I'm like, fuck, I gotta catch up. And then I heard about Luke. And then I heard about Grogu and Ahsoka, and I'm like, oh, okay. We're just,
And that's the problem with what I've seen with everything going on. I saw a tweet a couple days ago that was like Star Wars is a franchise where a guy shows up and then you cheer for him, and that's what makes the episode good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's harsh, but that's true. And the dichotomy between episode 5 and episode 6 shows me that.
Yeah.
Because episode 5 is not about showing you anyone, it's just about a dude being in fucking Logan.
Which granted, that dude is not a main character of the show. So even that is
no, he's not.
That dude is the main character of a second show. So even that's kind of like hey, look, it's Din Djarin from The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
You know,
kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
but again, that aside for a second.
Yeah.
Again, that aside for a second, it is just a character episode, and then you jump into episode 6, and it's like, yeah, okay, we saw Ahsoka,
like we have
and if you watch the show, you know that okay, we saw Luke, and if you know all the other movies, you know it's Luke, and then you see Grogu, and it's like, okay, it's Grogu, and he's being a little bit cute, but that's it. But then in that entire thing, the only moment of that episode that feels like, oh my god, this is a moment, is when Mando is looking at Grogu from a distance, and he's like, okay, no, I'm not going to meet him. Like that, there's like that
but
one
it's like, why is
moment in the middle of the episode.
in the Boba Fett show? You know,
that's
a very serious character moment that is directly tied to what the future of that character show should be.
And so it feels like this is like a special episode of Euphoria where it's like I'm just gonna watch the small little pieces and that's it.
I think what we were talking, what Cole said, I think you fucking hit the nail on the head. On like, Star Wars has kind of failed to be individual stories lately, and like I need to phrase myself very well here because we're talking about Star Wars. I fucking love Dave Filoni. That dude saved Star Wars. He absolutely did with Clone Wars and Rebels and everything. He fucking took it from Star Wars was a laughingstock with the prequel movies. And like, again, they're fine movies and people were unnecessarily harsh to them at the time, but people fucking hated Star Wars. Like, and then Clone Wars comes around and this dude fucking takes it and makes it fantastic again. And genuinely, Clone Wars has some of the best pieces of Star Wars content ever. Rebels has some of the best pieces of Star Wars content ever. Mando Season 1 has some of the best Star Wars pieces of content ever. And I wonder if it's because Filoni is the Feige right now. Filoni is the guy, basically. Filoni's he's only done one show at a time, you know? And so now when he's trying to do basically the entire main plot line of Star Wars, which is supposed to be very branching ideas and a bunch of things, he feels the need to progress things as if it's a single show. And I wonder if because I don't know the details of like who's running Book of Boba Fett. I don't know the details of like what the deal, how much input Filoni has on the movies and stuff, or on the shows. But I wonder if it is because there's this one guy saying we have to. It's because they're trying to treat it like Marvel, versus treating it like DC, which is just like James Gunn, do your Peacemaker shit. Who cares? And that's why Peacemaker is fucking awesome. We forgot to talk about Peacemaker. Peacemaker's fucking perfect.
It's really good.
And so I wonder if that might be it. Of like Disney and Star Wars and Lucasfilm are like, we have to progress a plot through these different narratives, like a Marvel show would be. But the Marvel shows, at the very least, for all their flaws, for all their I said two words at the same time, for all their faults, are just telling, like, the story bits, the main plot of the Marvel stuff in the shows are really subtle. It's like one scene in each show, It's just introducing Sword in WandaVision. It's just introducing an idea in fucking Loki. There's no. It's not like your Marvel fans will tell you have to watch every piece of Marvel media to get the plot. You fucking don't, and you shouldn't. Marvel will tell you have to. You don't. Star Wars though you
and
do.
Now,
Star Wars though you
now for Mandalorian season 3 you need to watch. For Mandalorian season 3 you now need to watch it, and it's weird because for a video editing class we got behind the scenes footage of stuff on the Mandalorian season 1, and we had to edit together like a little documentary of like all the directors and people talking. Dave Filoni was one of them, and they talked about how they brought Dave Filoni onto the project, and it kind of does feel like that. Of like, he's not directly going in and doing everything. He is writing and directing certain episodes for sure.
And granted, he's a good fucking director. He's a great writer.
Yeah.
The episodes he's directed, I know like a lot of people weren't into the fact that they introduced Ahsoka in Mando season 2. That episode alone, as someone that fucking adores Ahsoka, that episode's fucking fantastic. That is a killer episode.
That episode is really cool. Yeah. I just wish it wasn't in a show called The Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's just there's the main Star Wars plot line that I think they're trying to progress, versus the individual show and character plot lines that they should be trying to progress.
Mhm.
And the best way to do that is to let people do their own shit on their. Let fucking Jon Favreau do Mandalorian alone and not have Luke Skywalker in it. You know, but it's like, but then you lose. I know fans like that. I know fans like that kind of bigger thing, but it's not going to age well. It's really not. In 10 years, you can't. It's going to be really difficult to watch Star Wars now.
Because it's trying to be both an anthology and a series at the same time. And that's the problem with Mandalorian Season 2, especially.
Yeah.
It's jumping around like that.
I think it is like I mean, obviously they're both, you know, Disney oversees both Star Wars and the MCU. So, like, it's not a stretch to say that there's similar business strategies applied to both of them. But, like, I think, Troy, what you were talking about, where, like, you have, like, the MCU, it's like, it's all one on, like, it's a big TV show. It's this big ongoing thing. You have to watch everything. And, like, in especially in the TV shows, with all the sense of mystery that's been built up for a lot of the TV shows. And it's like, oh, what's the big reveal going to be? What character's going to show up? What are they going to lead into next? And it feels like it's like, well, you need to keep watching because you might miss something important, you know? And with Star Wars, I think it's even worse now, where it's like, it's that, but taken somehow to a further extreme, where it's like, oh, well, if you don't watch The Mandalorian, then you're not going to understand what goes on in the Book of Boba Fett. And then if you don't watch the Ahsoka show that's coming out, and it really does feel like, rather, it's not just like cameos, but almost like after credit scenes.
But inside of the episode, it's post credit scenes. It's like what fucking BVS did. Remember when BVS was just like, all right, let's take a whole 10 minutes to show weird clips of Aquaman and the Flash and Cyborg to really fucking force Justice League to set up. And editing wise, it just completely kills the flow of that movie.
It's because it's not storytelling.
It's
like,
not the story. It's an advertisement. Yeah. Same with Avengers Age of Ultron. They stop to advertise Ragnarok and they advertise the Black Widow movie that didn't exist yet. You know, they stop the movie to do all this stuff when in reality it works best when it's like the post credit scenes. Some of them are really fun, but most of them are just ads. They really are. And it's fun. It's a good place for it. You know,
the last one has just a straight up ad, straight up. So
and
like,
you know what? I'm gonna reel. That's the best one. That's the best credit scene they've had because they didn't they didn't do weird shit with it. It was just a commercial. I was like, you know what? They know what they are. I like that.
Yeah.
Think about like the first Iron Man movie, like the after credit scene. Oh, you know, Nick Fury shows up. I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. If you cut that out of the movie is just as good.
You know how I agree, and you know how I agree. Because I didn't know that fucking existed for the longest time. I went and saw Iron Man as a child. I didn't know that scene existed until I saw the first Avengers movie and I saw people talking about it online. I saw there were 4 fucking years where I was like, yeah, Iron Man was just a good movie and that's cool. And then I saw people show the Iron Man, the Nick Fury scene. I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? Where did this come from? Like, and that's when the Marvel stuff works at its best. And I think Star Wars is struggling with that right now. And
because they're doing it all in one. Yeah, that's the problem.
And it gets even worse though, because I'm gonna.
Here we go.
I couldn't give a fuck if it was just Luke Skywalker show. If it was an animated show and there was an episode with Luke Skywalker, I would actually be like, this is the best episode because I love Luke Skywalker and I love Ahsoka. I'm a little bitch like that. I recognize that. I understand it's not the best for the show, but I'm like, fuck yeah, I love it. You know, I almost got excited about Luke in Mandalorian season 2, and then I was like, wait. This is the start of something I don't like, you know. But the fact, so Cole, I don't think you know this, and I think this is what makes it very funny. So Luke is a fully CGI character, not necessarily. I don't know the details of the CGI aspect.
There is an actor that is walking around.
But he doesn't. But it's different from like a Tarkin, where he's not a lookalike actor. He's just an actor. Yeah. So he's physically acting, but. You would think, okay, we've got in Mark Hamill in the end of season 2 of Mandalorian was like, yeah, I did the voice for that. I did the voice lines for that scene. Cool, sweet. You got Mark Hamill back to play fucking Luke Skywalker. Rad. They do this, and then we're like, oh, the voice sounds kind of weird in this clip. What's the deal with that? There's something. Maybe Mark just was having an off day or something. And then you find out they say that Mark never recorded any dialogue. Nobody recorded any dialogue. AI. This is a completely AI performance done using the thing that everybody was mad at Troy Baker for promoting, essentially. Yeah. Do you remember which he backed down on? Loved Troy Baker to death for this. He said, "I don't want to be part of this anymore." Like
Yep.
so they use an AI thing that uses Mark Hamill's voice, reconstructing it to type in the lines, and have him say it. So there is zero, aside from the person doing the physical movement, which there's a performance there. Sure, there might be, but who's to say that's not really the full performance and the full character. I don't think so. Aside from that, there is no human element in this whatsoever. This is a fully robotic character, and I tweeted this, and it did pretty well, and it got a couple people mad, but I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm just going to restate my tweet. I think that characters are founded fundamentally in human emotion and human performance, and especially in film. Like, obviously in fucking books and comics you can't, because there's no performance aspect, but like even those are told through the human experience and through the human emotion, but so film is told through storytelling, through the human emotion, and then characters performed through the human emotion. That's like the whole fundamental aspect of why we connect with film so much over a comic or over like even animation to an extent. And so when you remove that aspect from a character, it turns them from a character into a product, into a not to get on my socialist soapbox that everybody hates when I do, but this is capitalism in action, and I hate it, and it makes me so fucking bothered, because now Mark Hamill is fine with this. Mark Hamill is perfectly okay. He has said many times, he gave his consent. He's okay with this, and good for him. He's a cool dude. I got no issues with Mark.
I'm glad to hear that.
Olivia Rodrigo, good for you, right?
Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo, good for you. But the issue comes from, what if there's an actor that isn't cool with it? Or what if there's an actor that signed a contract unknowingly, because they were pressured into it because they were 19 at the time? When they were signed on to a 20-year-long contract? Or what if there's just an actor that wants to be in a Star Wars project, and they're like, and then Lucasfilm is like, no, never mind, we're gonna put a robot in the role instead.
Imagine you're Spider-Man 4 pre-write, but now it's AI Tom Holland instead of real Tom Holland.
Exactly, and it's like the very fucking saga. It's the clone saga. Holy shit!
It's just CGI.
And so that was the thing that Troy Baker was. That's the thing that Troy Baker was promoting. Essentially, it was another version of this that was like a voice synthesizer using his own voice. And there was the NFT aspect that a lot of people didn't like, but really that was the actual product he was promoting and stuff. And he's since stopped partnering with that company and stuff for a lot, because that company was pretty gross for a lot of reasons. But that was marketed as, hey, if you're an independent developer and you need voice lines for NPCs that are just going to be out in the world or something, or you're really low budget and you can't hire a voice actor for whatever reason, this is an option now. And I'm not a huge fan of it for that reason, because then, smaller voice actors would lose out on jobs and stuff, just because it's like, okay, you just get Troy Baker, who is fucking Troy Baker. But at the very least, that's marketed to the independent creator. That's marketed to people that want to make things and just can't afford it. That's why I'm a big fan of the Unreal MetaHuman engine and stuff, and I've used that, and I really do appreciate that as a creator that can't draw or can't animate for shit. But Disney does not need that. I don't know if you guys know this, but Disney's pretty rich. Disney's pretty successful.
How rich are they? I thought they were kind of a mom and pop shop.
Actually, never mind. Disney's a pretty independent developer and pretty independent publisher.
Yeah.
So Disney doesn't fucking need that. Disney has no issue with finding actors. Disney has no issue with finding artists. And all this does is give Disney a reason to not pay artists. Give Disney a reason to not hire people. And instead use the non-union CGI work of CGI artists that they already overwork and underpay.
Do more.
And so it just this is the, like, everybody will be like, oh, the Leia thing in Rogue One, people were fine with that. People were fine with Tarkin. People weren't fine with Tarkin. There was controversy about that, and it was gross. A lot of people weren't okay with that. I was not okay with that. But it's like, it's been this slippery slope, and everybody will say it's a slippery slope fallacy, because we're fucking slipping on the slope right now. We're on the slope. The slope is very slippery. And like, sorry, it's just really bugging me. This is the only reason I wanted to do this podcast, because I just wanted to fucking rant. So like all this, and so now this gives the option for just more capital, like, because of course capitalism, the idea of capitalism, sorry to hate to break it to you, is that companies will do the cheapest fucking thing that they can to make product and make a profit. They will always do that because that's the quote unquote smart thing to do. I got a reply on my tweet saying about when I said that the characters are human emotion and shit like that, and turning a character into a product. Again, very good phrasing on my end. I'm very proud of that. I got a reply that was like, but it's so smart of Disney to not hire, they don't need to hire Mark Hamill. They just need to pay him for his likeness. That's the problem. That's the issue.
They're incentivized. They're very clearly incentivized not to treat their staff and their actors and their performers well. It's nice that Mark Hamill like gave his consent. I'm relieved
but he's Mark
to hear
Hamill.
that.
He's gonna get work. Mark Hamill's gonna fucking get on the Big Bang Theory season 25. Of course, he's fine. You know,
he's gonna say Bazinga.
He'll say,
wait,
oh
he
my
could
God.
say Bazinga.
I'm gonna be real. We did watch the Big Bang Theory episode where Mark Hamill was on it after the Luke thing. I was like, oh, this is kind of hurting, but I know I still love the guy. I still really love the guy.
Yeah, he's the Joker. You know.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Right. Like with Troy Baker with the NFT stuff. Like he would be fine as a career because he's Troy Baker. He has the platform and the success.
He's a prolific voice actor in gaming.
But then somebody like Eric, who everybody Eric for Wolverine,
like
Wolverine.
Eric for Wolverine. Eric for Superman too. You know.
Yeah.
Eric
again.
Okay.
Quick tangent. Up in the Sky is still in progress. I'm sorry, everybody. It's taking a long fucking time.
I didn't even mean to address that.
No, that's okay. He's very good in it though. He's very good in it. But so now like. Let alone like the CGI person, which that's a whole other conversation. You know, it's if they got Mark to voice this, I would be a little bit more okay with it ethically. It's a little bit gross still, and it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
and it's believable, quote unquote, but it's like it doesn't look human, but it's still like a human voice acting because voice acting is an.
Is there not a way to de-age him? Is that a problem?
I think there's not. I think he's in incredibly good shape, but I don't think you can get him down to like 19.
He's not like that. Like
I don't think so.
And so you would need a body double, I guess.
And you know who's a really good fucking body double? Sebastian Stan.
You're gonna say
I'm like not even a huge fan of the idea of it. I'm not even a big fan.
Yeah.
But he's right there. If you really need a body double to do the de-aging, it's super easy.
I can't see Disney ever working with Sebastian Stan. I can't think of anything.
You're right.
They have never worked together in anything. Any kind of show format. I cannot see him being on any kind of exclusive Disney Plus show ever. That doesn't make any sense.
They would never.
So,
but like, okay, the CGI person, whole other conversation. Like, who cares, right? Like, it's gross, and there's overworking of CGI artists, and it's cheaper to just get an actor, and it's very strange that they're not doing that to maintain the idea of like what Luke Skywalker is, even though Luke Skywalker is not real, and we've had 1 million people play Anakin Skywalker, so why can't we have 2 people play Luke? I don't fucking know. Just get Lego Luke Skywalker, and I think everybody would be as equally happy.
Yeah.
But
Lego Yoda.
But so like there's live action and stuff. It's a lot harder to fake, you know, unless if you're Disney, big billion-dollar corporation. What about animation though? Is the entire season of the next fucking Clone Wars? I mean, the Clone Wars is over, but you know, the next Star Wars animated show going to be a fully Android made? Like, are we gonna fucking fire D. Bradley Baker from the Clones because now we have an AI to remake the Clones voice?
Yeah.
Like again, that's I know people are gonna be like that's an extreme case, but it's like okay, are we not gonna hire?
There's a potential for it now. Yeah.
There's a chance that any voice you hear that is a call out voice or a small voice actor role that could have gone to an up and coming voice actor who needed money to pay rent is gonna go to a robot that has already been made and is free essentially. You know, and it's just this is just a bad future, and we're living in a dystopia. And I'm just
even
very
beyond that, because like I haven't done like voice and face machine learning stuff before, but I do like data set machine learning stuff, and that's much different because you're actually getting numbers out of it. Those are things that you can obviously replicate with the machine. With something like this, even not knowing, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can really fucking tell. And people are saying you can't tell. I'm sorry. You can tell.
Yeah.
You have
the
to
fact
be able
that
to.
Luke doesn't speak on Luke, the fact that Luke never speaks on camera is very telling.
Stolen Brian bit, but Grogu. Grogu, you have to learn how to use the Force, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Come on, I can tell.
Let's just
you can
pray
tell.
that audio.
Don't tell me you can't tell.
Okay, audio listeners, let's just hope that audio kept in. That'll be really funny if it didn't.
Oh,
and you just
what? I just
forgot
went
we're on
like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I'd probably take it up a little.
It was a good bit. Just laugh, everybody.
Yeah, it was a good bit. Just laugh.
Yeah.
Soundtrack. But yeah, the whole bit with the entire scene in the episode, you can tell there's no compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is the AI voice more so than it is even him walking around, where it's like he's doing some flips around and he's doing some fake fucking moves because it's just a body double and like it looks fine. It's just him saying, "See, I'm a Jedi Knight. Ooh, hoo, hoo. What? Look at me go. Ah, bah, boo.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. That's whatever. But every time he talks with Grogu, and every time he talks about anything in that episode, it's just it feels extremely soulless and extremely. You can tell. You can tell if you can't tell it's an AI voice, you can tell
something is different.
whoever did the voice acting.
Yeah.
It didn't do a good job.
And for me, it's like it's especially insulting for somebody like Luke Skywalker, who I adore that character, man. Like that, like Return of the Jedi is like one of my favorite movies ever, specifically because of his growth and because of his story. You know, he is the most human person in Star Wars, and I think that's why so many people are so excited to see his return. And I'm not bashing anybody who's excited to see him back. I'm excited to see him back in a sense, but he's not back because he's essentially a fucking ghost. You know, in a, you know, Mark Hamill's still alive, but like he's essentially a corpse being puppeted around by a robot.
Dude, it was literally I was going to use the term corpse. Like it honestly is a pretty perfect metaphor, at least to me, like for where Star Wars as a franchise is at. Of like you're basically like resurrecting the lead character, like the main character, the face of the franchise, in a way that, you know, is using a voice that is not human. And like I was not a person, like, you know, again, I haven't seen Book of Boba Fett, but like I wasn't a person like who was bothered by how Mark Hamill's CGI face looked in the finale of season 2 of Mandalorian. Yeah. That's not because I thought it looked great, but like that wasn't what took me out of that scene.
It was like a 30-second scene. It was a really short thing, and it was more so like
I totally understand if like, if that pulled you out of the scene and the experience and the immersion of that, like that's totally valid. Like for me, I had plenty of other issues with that finale and that conclusion.
The issue is more so just the inclusion. My issue, at least, is just the inclusion of Luke in general in the show, which I think we're in the same place.
Like, to me, like that finale is so frustrating because it gets like, I guess I'm gonna get a little sidetracked, but like it gets so close to being really compelling and interesting. It's really only saved by Pedro Pascal just being a tremendous actor. Because like when he takes off his helmet and looks at Grogu, despite me being so not on board with a lot of the decisions that finale and the season made, I felt it, dude. Yeah. Because it's real. Like you can see just he doesn't have to say anything, but the emotion on his face, it just communicates everything. And like, for me, that's where the focus of that finale should have been on. But it feels like that gets, and it's luckily like, Pedro Pascal kind of saves it.
Yeah.
But
he saves, I just had a horrific thought.
Look, it's Luke.
Yeah, what was your what the fuck
moment? I just had a horrific
what the fuck moment.
Pedro Pascal's in a mask most of Mandalorian. They could very easily just fucking replace him if they wanted to. That's just a horrific concept. That's I am so, oh boy. Like, I don't think they will. I do think there has been enough negative press,
about the support to fucking Brie Larson's profile picture. She still hasn't changed that.
Yeah. You know? There's a lot of support. I think, but it's the discussion seems to only be about the CGI face when really the voice is the thing that's fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it
turns it literally into a product, something that can be produced and not created.
And the thing that's even shittier is like what I was talking about, how like that other thing, the Troy Baker thing. I'm gonna call it Troy Baker thing because I don't remember what it was called.
The Troy Baker situation.
It was like voice synth or something like that.
Voice first NFT, I think.
Yeah, I can't fully remember. And like the NFT was actually not a huge part, but you know, that is a concept that as an individual, as a small creator, that I can't afford a ton of voice actors and stuff. I can't afford a ton of things, and I want to make stuff. It is helpful to me. It is, and I still am like, this is a bad thing, you know. Like if hypothetically, you know, I've been doing the Unreal Engine 5, the MetaHuman creator stuff to do a lot of my art and stuff as like reference and everything, and because I'm not an artist and I don't ever claim to be, and I use that because it's a very, very good, very high fidelity rigged 3D model that is super realistic, and it has like the depth that I think you need in a human being. And like it's very helpful for a lot of independent creators and stuff. That plus this voice synth thing could entirely replace actors for in anything if a company wants to. And it's like, if you were to ask a creator, would you like if ethics aside, if I were a robot, you know, like a capitalistic robot that only cares about profit or only cares about making stuff, not the artistic side, that wants the human emotion, but just like I need to just have a character say a thing, you know, if just wanting a product. If you were to ask somebody that, I would be like, yeah, that's the best way to do it, because it's cheap and it's easy. But you lose out on
the only reason. And I don't know what this says about Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau and anyone working on the current thing of Mandalorian.
I don't even know if it's Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau's fault. I don't know who's to blame.
No, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're just being given this at a mandate. Yeah. But my take on it too, I'm not the fucking biggest director in the world, right? But I've had experience directing actors before, and to me, it's like. Obviously, none of these fucking robots are sentient. They're just programs that are put on the screen. But like, if something like this gets to the point in, let's say, 10 years where you're just basically hiring someone to just do a bunch of CGI work, someone to do a VO, and just put a character on the screen for you to react to, even me as a director, I'm going to be like, I get so much more of talking with an actor about what they want to do in the performance and how they want to convey the performance. And yes, sometimes it's harder, because maybe the actor doesn't get it and you have to talk with them more and you have to try to get them to understand what you're trying to do, and they have to get it so that I understand what they're trying to do, right? Yeah. And that can be difficult, but that's, to me, the joy of that art. And even like scripting shit now, it's like I'm trying to talk with the actor so I know what they're comfortable with, and then they know what I want from it. And that's part of what the filmmaking process is to me. And this is one of those little stepping stones that's like, is that going to go away? And in that case, what the fuck is the point of what is the director going to be doing on set now? Is the director just there to mark the notes?
Yeah.
For like where the fuck the spot marks are, and then everyone else just does some work behind the scenes. I feel like, at least I would like to see more directors and other people speak up about how this is not necessarily good for. And I think High Top talked about it maybe a little bit.
I do think they are. But they're doing it in a way that the media frames as every time. It's crazy. The Scorsese stuff. The Scorsese. What do you think about Marvel? Every time they fuck a newspaper.
It's just about Marvel movies.
It's always about Marvel.
That's it.
But this is exactly what they're talking about. The idea of like turning movies into fast food is the over processing. That's exactly what fucking like all these directors have been warning against. But because the media is framing it as like, this person doesn't like Marvel movies. And like we've become so numb to the conversation because it's just there's so much of it and there's no actual discourse happening yet. It's just we ignore the warning signs, you know.
Yeah.
And the tech is advancing so fucking quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I think like God, like the whole Scorsese MCU, like it's like I mean like I have a complicated relationship with the MCU now, I'd say, but like I still love it. Like it's like there's plenty of MCU movies that have impacted me emotionally. Like both the Guardians movies are some of my favorite movies ever, and like Shang-Chi was awesome. Like I loved that movie. And like, does it have issues? Yeah, but like I think it kind of, to go off what you were saying, Troy, like it's not that like, oh, this is an absolute thing where like, oh, like every Marvel movie is just an amusement park fast food thing and it can't be art or it can't provoke emotions from its viewers. And it's not that every MCU movie is a flawless masterpiece, but it's like when you start to make movies and art in a way that does not allow for artists to either be in that space or to express themselves creatively, it is a slippery slope. You're just going to run into issues where it's like, well, yeah, we need, not that this is a moral issue really, but like we need a big, third act CGI battle, whether it fits the film or not.
Yeah.
And like ultimately it detracts from the quality of the film, and in much worse cases it detracts from the quality of the lives of the people who are involved, or whatever it is. And I think like that's
if Shang-Chi didn't have its big CGI third act battle, firstly the movie would be a lot better, because I think that's the weakest part of the movie is the third act. And also I'll bet you they would have had a far more interesting thing of just a regular fucking kung fu fight. That wouldn't kill a bunch of visual artists and keep them away from their families.
Yeah, because the stuff between Tony Leung and Simu Liu is like good.
It's
like
great.
The action choreography is
great.
Yeah,
it's just the weird.
And then the dragons show
shit.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I kind of like, I do agree. Like I think if they focused, like we didn't need a giant dragon fight. Honestly, though, that fight is cool as hell because
it was a fun fight. Yeah.
Enough with like how he uses the rings and just like it's really cool, and I kind of give it a pass. But like the emotion is so clearly with the relationship between Shang-Chi and his father, and Xiaoling and her brother and her father, and like that's why that movie works so well. At least the conclusion, despite the fact that like they didn't we didn't need to see that stuff, but like I think it's a testament to the quality of that movie that it can still work despite having those issues. And like there are some issues like for me Trevor Slattery or whatever, like the fake Mandarin, like he overstays his welcome even though he's really funny. Like I laughed in the theater both times I saw it, but like it's not something like despite all those issues I still love that movie. But it's also like that movie might not have those issues if it had been made under different circumstances in a way that we need to pump out, this following this formula.
It's the YouTuber shit where it's like quality over it's quantity over quality sometimes. And not to say that the movies aren't quality, but there is a lack of fucking No Way Home, for example. Like I said a whole video where I constantly said I love No Way Home, because I do really like No Way Home. And it's a video that's doing crazy well, so maybe I should say it more often. But like the fact that movie has so many CGI things that were clearly rushed because they had to have a movie out this year, and now they're trying to fix it in the theater. They're re-releasing the movie as a fucking patch, like it's a video game. Which
it's a
even
problem.
then,
it's a big problem.
People never liked that for video games. People have always been not a huge fan of day one patches, and people
remember that one video game that came out that everyone was really hyped for, and then turned out it was a fucking mess because it got released early.
There's 100 games you could be talking about right now.
Talking about Cyberpunk, but like
I'm mainly talking about Cyberpunk, but a lot of video games.
On the topic, just really quick, like on the top of kind of like crunch and like like let's not like I know this, you guys are aware of this, but like. Also, like for the last 2 years, there's been a global pandemic.
And
I'm not,
it's the No Way Home. It's a specific like I can excuse it because of the pandemic, but also it could have been delayed because of the pandemic. And it's the idea that it had to have come out in 2021.
I don't know the circumstances of like No Way Home and why they released it when they did.
There was crunch there. There was definitely crunch.
But like it makes me think of like with the theatrical cut of Justice League, where like the reason why that movie wasn't delayed is because like. I don't remember who exactly, but like one or some of the executives at Warner Brothers would only get a yearly bonus if it released in 2017.
Yeah, it had to do with the AT&T merger or something
like that.
That's why
they didn't delay it.
Yeah.
That's the other fucking thing. I've talked about this a ton. I hate how I have to give a shit about politics or company politics while talking about superhero movies now.
Yeah, so that should not be a boundary to that.
I shouldn't have to give a fuck about Sony stock prices when I'm talking about why I don't really like this one character in a Spider-Man movie. But the response when I'm like Mary Jane or MJ should have just been named Mary Jane because she's clearly based on that, and it only undermines the importance of that character when you don't call her Mary Jane. And I'm glad they just started calling her MJ Watson because I can just pretend. Yeah. But when you're like, oh, it's a different character because legally they have to, like, there's that's a whole fucking conversation. But then the response when you say that, the response is always company politics. They like lawsuits. This. It's like I shouldn't have.
It feels like an excuse.
It feels like an excuse. The fact that capitalism is taking every aspect of art and fucking with it. Every aspect of big art. And obviously it's big blockbusters. There's always been but like Spider-Man 2, who gave a shit? Who knew what Sony was when that movie was coming out? I feel like maybe because we were younger, but I don't know.
But another thing. Or go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. No.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
We're good at this.
On directors and actors too. On like specifically back to this about having an actual performance on screen as opposed to whatever the fuck we saw in that episode. There have been examples even in these big blockbuster things of it working well with a person. Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. at the start of this fucking old escapade was them sitting down together and forming what this character would look like. Tony Stark wasn't built in a cave with a box of scraps. It was built in a fucking room with Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. talking with each other about what they wanted this character to represent to them. Yeah. Another example, it's a smaller one, but James Gunn went to Twitter and was talking about why they cast Myrn from Peacemaker as one of the one of the major characters in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And it was because there's a scene in episode 6 where he's having an emotional monologue, and that's what resonates with Gunn, and he sees that performance. That's something he doesn't see in the character when he just writes it down on a paper.
Yeah.
That's something you only get to see when you watch someone perform, and then you cast that role because you want to bring that into the character. And here's another really controversial example, because this is the controversial episode of the podcast. Rian Johnson and Luke and fucking Mark Hamill in The Last Jedi. That was something where, yes, there were problems between the two of them about what they wanted that to look like. But that's what helped make the movie stronger, is because they kept having that debate amongst themselves about what they wanted that character to represent. When you do it like this, you're basically, yes, you're allowing technically the creative freedom of the creatives to do whatever the fuck they wrote on the script.
Yeah.
But whatever you write on a script is not always what looks great on the screen. You need to have an actor come in and say, this is what I want to do with the character. See how that works with the performance, and then alter it from there. This completely removes that. That's my problem with it. I mean, we can talk about fucking capitalism and everything all day, but on a creative level, that is my problem with it, because you're completely eliminating a little stage of collaboration.
It's a very important
It is no
stage,
longer collaboration.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think it's insane. Like, again, I want to talk about The Last Jedi. I'm going to fucking talk about it. I don't even love that movie.
Yeah,
I think I've got some fucking issues with it, but like the core of it, the core of that movie is we should grow from the past and learn from it and move on and allow us to live our lives and not be stuck down by it. That's the whole point of Luke's idea, the whole point of Luke's story. And Mark Hamill gave one of the best performances of his fucking life with that movie. And then the next time we see the character, he's a fucking robot. He is a corpse being puppeted around like Weekend at Bernie's by a fucking computer. And it's just to remind you, hey, Luke Skywalker, remember him? He's from the movies, you know? And it's like, basically all I'm saying is this all could have been avoided if they just used fucking Dash Rendar from the Legends. or Cal Katarn. Yeah. You know what? If it was Cal Katarn in Mandalorian Season 2 instead, I would have lost my shit. I would have shit my fucking pants. That's all I care about. That's all you need.
They need to fucking do a big character for the tabloids. But even now, do normal people, like, I remember when Mandalorian Season 2 came out and Luke Skywalker showed up with the weird CGI face, normal people were talking about that. Yeah. And partially that's probably because Rise of Skywalker was coming out. No one who's normal is talking about the Luke Skywalker thing. And that's concerning.
Season 2 was way after Rise of Skywalker. Wasn't it?
It was?
Yeah.
I thought it was
Mando Season 1 was the
that's
thing
right. Yeah, never mind. Discard, I said that. Yeah, no, not that. Sorry. But when that happened, people were talking about the fact that Luke Skywalker is back as young deepfake version of himself. And that was a conversation that normal people were having.
Yeah.
No normal people are talking about the Book of Boba Fett's this scene. Like, I'm not seeing none of my like IRL friends really know about this. Yeah. And that's kind of troubling too, because that means less people are going to complain about it, which means Disney's just going to end up doing it more. But also, it's not working for the tabloids too, Disney. I don't understand.
I don't think they were doing it for
if they're doing this to generate press.
I don't think they did this for the tabloids. I think they did this for the
ease of access.
They did it for the fans, quote unquote. You know, but by fans I mean people that their problem with Solo is Alden Ehrenreich. You know, and I don't even like Solo.
You know what the problem here is? You know the real problem with this, if we're gonna blame it on the fans, is because fans keep wanting the fucking face match casting. Yeah. For fucking everything.
It's because Star Wars
fans want to keep face match casting.
It's because Star Wars is a franchise that should have died in the '80s and maintained as an '80s property. But it's because it was so profitable, they kept going and they kept going.
Sydney Sweeney has black cat because she has big tits and blonde. There you go.
I vividly remember the discussion around the prequels was, wow, these are really fucking corporate. Wow, they made a whole movie just so they can make a pod racing arcade game. That's pretty crazy. You know, I vividly remember that was the whole point of the whole point of that movie. The whole point of these discussions they were like, oh, it's toys. And now the people that grew up with that and loved that are now the main consumer. And so they can get away with it far more easily. You know?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I think no one's going to learn their lesson from this because people are just going over it.
What's the opposite of a preface? A postface. If you enjoyed it, fuck yeah, cool, good for you. You know, you're not a bad person. I'm being very general in my discussion of Star Wars fans. I think for a very good reason, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's probably not you if you're listening. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not one of these people.
Yeah.
If you got past us talking about The Last of Us Part 2, you're pretty chill.
We're gonna get comments on. We're probably gonna get comments on this.
And that's why I'm not gonna look at them. That's why I'm gonna pretend it never happened.
I as much as I've been shitting on Star Wars, and like I will shit on Star Wars all day long because I've been very turned off to it over the past like year or two. But like dude, if you enjoy any of the Star Wars shows or movies for any reason, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I can't take that away from you, and I don't want to.
I saw people that. Sorry, keep going. Sorry, I don't know.
No, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I think it is kind of an interesting conversation about, like, because, like, it's like, oh, well, yeah, like, every movie exists, especially blockbuster movies and shows and stuff, like, exist to make money. It's like, yeah, of course, but, like, that doesn't have to be at odds with the well-being of the people working on the show or their creative voice. Like, there is a middle ground that you can find. And I think, like, the idea, it's like, oh, yeah, like, especially, I mean, I guess, like, bringing it back to video games and crunch and just horrible working conditions, it's like, that doesn't make the game better for a lot of reasons. But I think it's also like it like good art requires sacrifice, but there's a fine line between sacrifice and suffering.
Yeah.
And I think like sacrifice is pouring your heart and soul into something. And yeah, it's hard work and it might hurt, but it's not suffering in the sense that you are just like, I have no life outside of working on this. And I'm not able to even create this or work on my art in the way that I want to because of whether it's the conditions or the restrictions or, you know, as Mithi was kind of saying, like cutting out that connection between the director and the actors. And I already said, but like it's finding that middle ground. And like, yeah, it's not easy because when you're in that Disney machine, they're going to make decisions that, it's smarter. It's smarter for them. It will save them money. Will make them more money. But I think I feel like that conversation is kind of often reduced to like a binary of like, oh, it's just either, you know, full creative vision or you have like, you know, you're just totally restricted and that's just how it's going to be because that's the industry. But like it's not easy, but there is a place to meet in the middle. And I think that just kind of gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah. And like, I know there were a lot of people, and back when Mando Season 2 ended, you know, there were a lot of people that fucking teared up because they saw Luke Skywalker. That's incredibly valid. Those are absolutely valid perspectives and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to ruin anybody's fucking day and be that shitty buzzkill.
You're not going to be like that dude shitting on the girl shitting on the dude with the cargo shorts or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's
that
like,
was a long,
at the end of the day,
callback.
if you have an emotional reaction, to art, the art succeeded, in my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
I absolutely
totally
think that.
agree.
And I think for a lot of people, this episode in the Mando Season 2 finale, this episode for sure, definitely succeeded in that way. But I also think, I don't think it would have succeeded any less if there was a recast. I don't think the issue with Solo is Alden Ehrenreich. I think the issue with Solo is absolutely, that dude's the best fucking part of Solo. Oh no, just kidding. No, wait, Donald Glover is in fucking Solo. We were all cool with that. We were all totally cool with that. Where did that? Wait, we were all, you know.
And then he left to do Atlanta again because I think they're being Atlanta right now. Right?
It's honestly a better place for him. But like I don't. The issues with Solo are not the casting. And I don't hate Solo. Solo's just a very middle. The issues with Solo are the fact that Phil Lord and Chris Miller got fucking fired for making too good of a movie. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. That was really what it was.
I actually really like Solo. Like, it has plenty of issues, and there are some stuff that, like, I don't love about it. It's like, oh, look, that's how he got his name. It's like, what? Like, we didn't need to know
Solo,
this.
Solo is like the Ant-Man of Star Wars, where I'm like, it's a cool movie. It's a fun movie. But fuck, those original directors would have been so much better. Yeah. You know, because Edgar Wright would have killed it with Ant-Man, and that's a whole 10-year-old conversation. But like you know, and everybody would being like, well, this is not, it wouldn't be Luke Skywalker. It's like, yeah, it still would be, because Luke Skywalker is a fictional character who exists till the end of time, and we need to recreate. Like when they recasted Hayden for the animated show, and they cast Matt Lanter, that's the best Anakin right there. Mm-hmm. Matt Lanter fucking saved Star Wars. It's Solo, ironically. Like on his own, that dude saved the reputation of Star Wars because he made Anakin a perfect character with the help of Filoni and stuff. And you know, Hayden, it's not Hayden's fault or anything, but it's like without that recast, I don't think Clone Wars would have been nearly as successful. You know? Yeah. And it's just,
they made the character feel separate.
Fucking, who cares about casting? Recasts are fine as long as it's not an Ant-Man 3 situation. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, go ahead.
And that's the problem that I'm seeing now is like something that now you only really get when you look at smaller budget indie work is, I mean, I talked about the collaboration, but I mean, really that's what's going away here is like now when you're hiring someone on for a project like this, it's not because you like their work. It's because people will want them and they will be paid the least. Or
Yeah.
there's another reason for why they're being hired onto the project than just they want to be a part of the project, right? And I feel like all the projects that I really like and all the movies and TV shows and shit that I really like, when you look at the behind the scenes, the cast and the crew are all kind of this own singular unit, right? Because when you're making a movie, when you're making a TV show, I think for the longest time there used to be this idea where you have to be a family for like a couple months, and you have to work together to get this thing done, and then you move on. Yeah, so people move on, but like it doesn't seem like that with any of the new shit. It very much seems like, all right, they come in for a little fun thing, and they leave, and then someone else comes in for a little fun thing, and they leave. And if you're making a show like that, that's different. But this show is not. I feel like this show is not supposed to be made like that, but it is being made like that because it's just a rolling deck of whoever the fuck they want and whoever the fuck is willing to show up to set one day, and that's it. And I don't like that. I think this needs to. I'm going to sound like Martin Scorsese, but I think this needs to look back at like what made traditional Star Wars good, and it's that like, okay, this cast forms like a family, they all, the way that they interact with each other, the way they have to bounce off each other, it forms a different type of connection and it forms a different type of media, is because there's genuine emotion there. You're not going to form that out of a fucking stick figure that they're using as a reference mark.
There is a very good reason why all of James Gunn's recent work has all had Michael Rooker in it. Why he shares a lot of the same cast, because he's so connected with these people, and because the way that James Gunn makes. And I'm not even like a James Gunn stan, but I fucking love Peacemaker, and I fucking love the Suicide Squad. Like, those are my favorite pieces of modern, like, quote unquote blockbuster, like, superhero media of the past fucking like few years, aside from maybe like Spider-Verse. And it's like, because, and if there wasn't that connection made, then those movies and that show wouldn't be nearly as good, I think.
Yeah. Because that cast needs, if you look at the Suicide Squad, if you look at Guardians, that cast feels like a family because they're kind of forced into the situation. They have someone like James Gunn there to show them a direction, right? And we're assuming shit about this show that we don't know, but we're also talking about everything beyond just the Mandalorian, right?
Issue, and this show is very indicative of the general issue, I think.
Think of someone like King Shark. Right? And that performance is so physical on set that a lot of those actors probably have a good relationship with what the fuck is it? I keep forgetting his name.
The guy who plays Peacemaker, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have called him that. That was fucked up.
I know.
He said the character said he doesn't like that. I can't. It's Economos. Economos. That's his name.
Economos. Yeah. The guy who plays Economos. Like if it was just a CGI model there, even though that's fine, you can make an argument to say that's fine.
No, CGI characters. But nothing wrong with CGI characters. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice to have it there, even like what Taika does, right? Where like Taika is playing a character with them, so there feels like a little bit of community there. Yeah. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of, not just Mando shit, even some Disney Plus stuff, where like it's all filmed so segmentedly that like, even though there's high production, crazy cinematographers, decently good direction, it still feels kind of cheap.
And
because
that might
it's
be
just
very
being
much
made to be made.
Stuff. That might very much be.
That might be that too.
We're in a time where it's really hard to like gauge that, And I think what's going to be the defining factor of like what the norm is or what the norm should be is the Batman. Because if the Batman feels like that, we can assume like, okay, because like knowing the relationship that Matt Reeves has with these characters and with these actors and stuff.
Yeah.
If there is a moment that feels very disconnected, it's not because it was rushed. It's not because of the DC machine, because there is no DC machine.
It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be because.
So that's gonna be, I think, the gauge for like what is not the future, but the foreseeable future until people like Letitia Wright get vaccinated, people like Evangeline Lilly.
I was just about to say, and we got another one there too.
Yeah, great A4 scene.
Yep. I love the representation.
I think. And that's why I feel so worried about The Flash and Doctor Strange. Like, I get it, Raimi's cool, and the trailer looks good, but
studio involvement in art is very rarely a good thing.
Yeah.
I legit don't want to talk about the Flash movie because I have like negative interest in it.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
I see the Flash movie news Twitter page, and they're still like hyped, and I'm like, how the fuck? You know all the news. How are you excited?
They're the real AI bot. That's what they are.
Really quick, I just want to backtrack a bit to Solo because kind of talking about like recasting and stuff and like what I like so much. How do you pronounce Alden Iron? How do
Alden
you pronounce his
Ehrenreich, I
last
think.
name?
Alden Elric, right?
I thought there was
Elric?
another syllable in there. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I did
Elden.
too. Dude, I've like legit
It's
looked
Elden
it up
Ring.
like
Alden
5 times.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Alden
Yeah, there
Elden
you go.
Ring. Hey, this is an Elden Ring podcast
Yeah.
now, baby. Let's
There you go. You're
go.
welcome.
Yeah, but like what I love about his performance in Solo is that he's not just replicating Harrison Ford. He's not playing the exact same thing you've seen, and he's not just recreating that. He's playing that character as like someone like a young Han Solo who thinks he's Han Solo, who's cool and calm and collected and this, like charming rogue. Who's trying to be that but isn't there yet.
Yeah.
And I love that he's sort of projecting like, and that's, to me, that's like really visible in his performance, and that's what I love about it, is that it's not just trying to be the exact thing. Because like I remember when the movie came out or was coming out or was being worked on, and there was like he had to take like acting classes or something because his performance wasn't good enough, which is just like stupid.
It's not true. Yeah.
But like, and I remember someone being like, "Oh, well, there's this like documentary or movie about Harrison Ford, and the actor who plays Harrison Ford and it looks just like him. They should have just gone with him." And I'm like, "Okay, but like, also,
What about the performance?
That's the guy in Christian's video, and he would have been a good pick because he plays the Joker in Telltale.
Maybe he would have done a great job, but like, if you and I don't mean just like yeah, obviously he might look like him, and maybe he can even act like him, and like. But maybe that's not what you want as a director or as a story.
When you hire someone like that too,
of Harrison Ford that you saw in like episode 4, 5, and 6, maybe you want a younger, less experienced kind of, and like Elden Ring, was the right pick in my opinion. And I wanted to give him that movie a little credit in that regard.
You know what's another good example of that? Imagine if in No Way Home, Andrew Garfield was all CG because they had this tech and they could do it. Would you get the same reaction that you
imagine if there was if No Way Home, if Andrew, because so much of what people love about No Way Home was because Andrew on set was like, hey, let's do this. Like,
imagine if you didn't have that.
Imagine if he wasn't there.
Gone. That's what happens. Yeah, exactly.
Like I do think the best part of No Way Home is like Tom Holland's Peter's arc and his journey, because that's somehow the focus of that film. Like, it still blows my mind that they pulled it off.
Accidentally good movie. I'm convinced it's accidentally good. It should not have been good.
Even that too is Tom influenced, because the original idea was not to do the Peter Parker thing. He's the one that suggested it.
And remember when everybody was like, "No, they would never do Parker Industries. They would never end the movie like that. You're just too paranoid. Just shut up, Joy. This video is bad." And then they found out that the alternate ending was exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, and we were so close. We were so close to me having a fucking terrible time.
This is why I am a Tom Holland stan, is because he stopped it.
You know what? Maybe I'm a Tom Holland stan, but he's British, and I can't have that.
Yeah, that's right.
Andrew Garfield's fine. Tom Holland, absolutely not. Andrew Garfield is the only British man I will support.
Yeah. I think we keep coming back to that point.
I'm really excited for CGI de-age Ian McKellen Magneto to be fully robotic and have zero performance and not be Jewish.
He's going to be a Nazi. It's going to be Ian McKellen CGI, and he's going to be a Nazi. That's what's going to happen. I'm calling it right now. Random
thing. Nice thing about The Last of Us 2, not something like I can't really say this about many video games, like good Jewish representation.
Yeah,
like
Dina's great. Dina's fucking killer. I love that character.
Dina's so great.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my only gripes with that
she's
game,
not in it enough.
Very, very, very spoilers. Yeah, she's not in it enough. Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, like anyway, that's we've come full circle.
Come full circle. Yeah. So basically, if you're the quartering watching this, feel free to make a response video and cancel us.
Yeah,
that's okay. By the way, I'm gay. Go for that too. I'm bisexual. I'm a bisexual white boy. Go crazy. Go fucking wild. I'm just gonna
out of context. By the way, I'm gay.
So I don't know where that. You probably aren't a fan of that.
Yeah. And I'm Indian. I do whatever the fuck you want with that. This mustache sucks, but that's valid. So,
mustache is great.
Yeah. Troy, yours is better. I tried to be you, but it's not the same.
I'm gonna realize it's not gonna last very much longer. I hate to break it to everybody.
No.
I want to start. I don't know. It's feeling weird. It's making my skin feel gross. Like I'm not treating it. Maybe I'll just buy some fucking shit for it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
It looks good. I'll say it looks good.
I watched an old video of mine.
No.
What? Yeah.
do the Eddie Burbeck thing where you put the fake mustache on top of it, but then over time your actual mustache becomes bushy enough that it's bigger than the fake mustache.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
That's what you
But
should.
I watched an old video. I watched the Evil Superman video again a few weeks ago, and I had like body dysmorphia. I was like, well, that's not me. That's weird. This is weird. I'd like, yeah.
Video?
What?
Which video? Sorry.
The Evil Superman one, where I didn't have a mustache.
Oh,
I was like,
Evil
who the
Superman.
fuck
Okay,
is this guy?
Mm.
And it's even worse because my
Yeah.
hair in every video, because I filmed them so far apart, is just radically different in
Right.
terms of length and like kemptness. It's hilarious.
Now what you have to
I
do
feel bad
is
for
just
any
next video,
video
just hair all the way down,
I love
just like
that.
over your
Did I
eyes.
tell
kind of
you
thing.
about
Yeah.
about when I bought Pokemon and I had to put on a disguise? Did I tell you this? Okay, I don't think I told anybody
No.
this. I told Olivia this, and we
No.
don't have a ton of time, so I'll go quick and stuff. We're not doing questions. There's
Yeah.
no fucking way.
Okay, I have. There was like 6. It's
Yeah,
not
we'll
that
do 'em-
many.
we'll do 'em
Brian
next
made a good question.
We'll
We'll
get to
answer
'em later.
Brian's question.
Okay, we'll get to
Yeah.
them later.
Yeah.
But so I was on my way to buy Pokemon, and I was coming like the mall. There's an entrance through Target, and I parked at Target, and I walked through Target. As I'm exiting Target, I'm going to fucking GameStop. This guy's like yelling to me. He's like, "Sir, sir," and I'm like ignoring him because it's a pandemic, and I'm very uncomfortable with people. And I just want to go buy my fucking Pokemon game. And I'm like, wait, it might be important. So I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, and he's not wearing a mask. And he comes up and he touches me. And he's like, hey, can I get your help with something? And he's like, he's very clearly trying to scam me. He's like holding things that he wants me to buy. I know this. It gave me bad vibes. And I was like, sorry, I'm in a really big hurry right now. I wasn't in a hurry. I lied. I flat out lied. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I was very proud of myself. Like I got away from that social situation in a pandemic. I'm like, sweet. Hopefully he didn't actually need my help, but I think he was scamming me. So then I go to GameStop, and then as I'm in GameStop, I'm like, oh wait, fuck. That's the only way back to my car. It's through the Target. And so I'm like, fuck, he's probably still going to be there. And he's going to be like, you weren't in a hurry. And he's going to call me out of my lie. And I'm not ready for that socially. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that at all.
So you wore a fucking disguise.
No, so what I did,
So
I had this jacket on. I had this jean jacket. So this is what I looked like. And I had my mask. I had my mask on the whole time. But so I was wearing this jean jacket. I looked like this with the mask on. And then I'm like, oh fuck, okay, wait, shit, I gotta figure something out. So I pull a Bruce Wayne / Clark Kent. I take the glasses off. I go this way with the hair. I go this way with the hair. I'm still wearing the mask. And then I take the jacket off. I'm a fucking different person. I'm a different human being. And this guy doesn't fucking recognize me. I'm so proud of myself.
Who's
I don't know.
Sorry,
Fuck,
there's a
I
stranger
was
in my
yeah.
room. And so
The glasses do make you look different. Like not extremely different, but like
the
different.
Clark
Like we
Kent
all wear
thing, the
glasses.
Clark Kent
I don't
thing
know how
works. It fucking
different
works.
I look.
And
I
granted,
think I look
maybe
relatively
he
same.
did. There's a very good chance he did recognize me and just didn't want to say anything. But I like to think that I pulled the Clark Kent. I'm really proud of myself there.
You worked. You worked.
What? You did like shift your hair over. I was like, oh wait,
Like-
you do look kind of different. Like,
Yeah.
It's a complete shift in the dynamic, everybody.
You should have committed a bit and shaved your mustache right
No,
there.
right
so
there,
then he'd
right
never.
there,
Yeah. Just for
I
him.
should have bought. Whoa, where'd Cole go?
It's,
oh what? Who is this? Oh, what a handsome man.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anything
All right, do we want-
else we want to say about the death of society and the death of art as we know it because of capitalism?
Hire actors and work with them and be nice and big.
Yeah.
Don't. Not that you have to be friends with every single actor you work above, but it's nice because I'm working with actors now and I'm trying to get to know them so things like look right and feel right. And I feel like that's the best way to direct films and the best way to make movies is to be friendly and be amicable with the people you work with. To do that. That's my message.
Good message.
Yeah,
Is there anything else?
a good one. I'm really excited for my upcoming marriage to Elden Ring in 18 days. So that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to. But you know, it's I know you guys.
And guess what? Elden Ring got delayed a lot, probably to support the artists.
Well, dude, yeah, that game, like, I mean, it got delayed once by like a month, but like it would have been
I
out.
assume
Like,
it got delayed. Oh, because I'm thinking of. I think it was just the fact that we had no fucking information about it for the longest time.
Yeah, no, dude. Like for legit, like 2 years, we had like one cinematic trailer, and it's because they're working during a pandemic.
Also,
and
Miss
making
George
video
R. R.
games is
Martin
hard.
never expect that to come out tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's yeah.
That motherfucker's like,
George
hang
R. R.
on, I
Martin
wrote
wrote
15 words. I gotta go fucking run some errands really quick, and then he forgets.
He's a dad who left us.
Yeah.
But yeah, do we want to answer Brian's question or
What's Brian's question? We'll get to the
our
rest of the
question's a
questions
little-
next week, by the way. You know, so like, don't,
Yeah.
if you ask the question on our Twitter at Fanboy Talk, we'll get to it. I just have to pee really
We
bad,
will.
and it's been like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
He asked a deep question. Well, he
yeah, we got
in an
time
attempt
for
to
that. Why not?
counterbalance the
Yeah,
many
fuck it.
pitfalls.
Yeah, just
No.
go for it.
Okay.
What was the question?
In an attempt to counterbalance the many pitfalls of being in these communities, what inspired you guys to make videos, and what's kept you doing it? Also, maybe say one thing you love about being, love being a part of comic book / pop culture corner of the internet. Love y'all.
I hate this man.
Oh,
That's too good of a question, and he's far too kind.
Yeah. I know.
Brian,
And you have to go piss.
Brian, go fuck yourself. But I love you. I have to pee very bad. But
Okay.
I would. I mean, what is like? That's a lot. But
That's a big. That's why
Yeah.
I didn't read the whole thing. I just saw Brian question. I was like, hey.
I mean, in terms of inspiration, like, I don't really like my inspirations, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of the people that like it, but that's part of it. Like, it's just knowing like artists that you look up to are never going to be perfect people, and like you have to like recognize that and shit. And I think I have recognized that, but like, I'm not going to name the names and stuff because they have turned out to be problematic and shit. But like, but yeah, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to answer that part of the question. Never mind. Not on camera. I thought about it. I was like, that's not going to go.
Yeah.
But like, what was the other part of the question? Like, what's the favorite part of being?
What do you love about comic book Twitter and shit?
This is a weird thing. I've noticed like a lot of like at the very fucking least for all of the issues. This is not a weird thing actually. Now that I said it's a very good thing. The for all the fucking issues that comic book Twitter has, it is extremely supportive of the trans community. They're like fundamentally, aside from like weird WandaVision stands and stuff, like I very rarely see blatant transphobia. Granted, I'm not trans, and like I'm sure trans people like see it constantly, but like on my timeline and stuff, like I am consistently seeing a lot of fantastic trans creators and fantastic trans people like get full support from like a, you know, countless people, and it is a relatively positive community for the LGBT experience, I think. And
there are good comics for trans representation, right?
I would. It depends
right?
on like maybe not so much from the big two that to my knowledge. I
Yeah,
know Dreamer was just recently introduced in DC, but like I mean like what do you? I mean whatever we want to define as like representation because like you could argue like any character could be
anything is yeah.
But like yeah, I think there's a ton of like for all the fucking faults, and granted it's hard to in our circle at the very least, like I never feel like concerned about like homophobia or biphobia or like, you know, or transphobia for other people and stuff, like not nearly as much. And if there is that, I always feel like safe to call it out, you know, at least in my experience. And granted, I'm a white guy, I'm a white cis man, so like it's totally different for other people, and I recognize that. But in my experience, I've had a very like all the shit I got on Twitter, I don't think it's because I'm bi, you know. I think it's because I have bad opinions, and that's valid, you know.
Yeah. That's valid too.
That was a long thing. Sorry.
No, that was good.
And that was also a serious
Cole,
thing.
do you
So
wanna
if
go?
your thing was like, oh, I like the pretty pictures, that's fine too.
Yeah. Cole, do you have an answer?
I guess like I'll kind of answer in reverse to kind of go off what Troy was saying. Like I guys, I have a confession. I like Twitter. Like yeah, I go on it too much, but like I don't like Twitter because I like seeing like strangers post about like this thing is greater than this thing. Like that's stupid, and I just scroll past it, and I have a million words and think. I've had Star Wars muted on Twitter forever. But what I love about Twitter is that like I met you guys through Twitter. And like you guys are and like Brian and everyone else like are some of the nicest people that I've ever met. And it's just so rewarding to be like a part of a community where it's like both creatively, where it's like you can bounce ideas off of one another and share what you're working on things, but also just to like as a support system, which I think is really important now more than ever. Like, you know, I'd never mentioned it, it's never come up before on the podcast or in real life, but there's a pandemic that's been going on. I don't know if you guys are aware.
Oh, I never heard of this.
So
actually,
it's really nice to have that.
What are you talking about? That doesn't exist.
No, I don't know what I'm talking about either. But like I think just having like for me, like Twitter is a thing where it's like I like it because I can interact with my friends and be silly and like support each other when you need that or you want that. So yeah, that's my favorite thing I guess about like the Twitter, comic tube, whatever. And like there are so many talented and kind and wonderful artists like creating art on YouTube right now in that space. I just think it's really cool to not even be a part of that so much, just like to be able to know some of the people, even if like I'm not super super close with some people. Like I consider myself pretty close to you guys, but like even like other creators who I'm like, oh, like I don't talk to regularly, just like, whatever. But like it's really cool to just be like, oh yeah, like you get to, make a cameo in each other's videos occasionally, or you just get to like interact with one another and be like, man, your shit that you make is so cool and I love that. Um but I guess like to answer the first part of the question, like what inspired me to start making videos, right? Um I guess like part of it was that before this is some Critical Rants lore. I know you guys are really interested in this. So it's Critical Rants started as a blog on like WordPress.
Oh, I did not know this actually.
And then eventually I just realized like, oh man, I want to make YouTube videos, because what I really wanted to do from the start was make YouTube videos and make video essays, but I was just like, I don't know how to edit videos and I'll never be able to compete. And then eventually I realized, well, that's stupid. Like, give it a shot. And I gave it a shot and I loved it. But like, I think there are a few people where it's like, even like Troy, you're one of the creators, where it's like, I watched your videos and I was like, you have so much passion that I was like, it is infectious. And I think that's kind of what defines, like, if I had to like cite as like my main like video essayist YouTube person that inspired me, it's High Top Films. Wow, what a shock.
Yeah.
But like the reason it's like I feel like people. I mean, and Troy and Mithi, you're not aware of this. High Top Films sometimes gets a lot of shit for his opinions and his videos.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought he doesn't have any controversy at all, and he has the easiest life in the entire fucking world.
Video was very beloved.
Yeah, no, it was very unbiased and like but sorry, I say that I said that as if like the joke was that his review is biased, but like of course it's biased.
Yeah,
that's what a review is. Yeah. Like, but that's not. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is like the passion that I think he puts into all of his videos is very tangible, and like it was the kind of thing where it's like, oh, when you watch a High Tops Films video, at least for me, it's like even if I don't agree 100% with what he's saying, which like I agree with what he's saying a lot of the time, but a lot of the times I don't. I don't watch his videos and didn't feel compelled to come back to his channel because I was like, oh man, he validates my opinions. It's because this dude cares about what he is making. And it made me want to be like, I want to make stuff that I care this much about. And that's ultimately why I did it.
It is the difference between content and like because it's like fucking YouTube will always say that we're content creators, and I don't like that. Like it's the difference between content and like I can't think of it because it's like art feels a little bit too pretentious, but it is art,
No, it is art. Like, I don't care if like people think I'm pretentious. Like, I know I'm pretentious. Like, and I don't think there's anything wrong.
We have to be pretentious. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
We're YouTubers. But the whole idea of being a YouTuber is that we think our opinion matters.
I mean, the concept of being a YouTuber is we think people should sit down and watch and listen to something we have to say for like around 10 minutes or even longer or even shorter.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is like, and it's like, but like we embrace that, right?
I think like to me like it's not something that I've like really been vocal about at all, but like something I've been trying to do over the past couple months or maybe even a little bit longer is like not like I'm not gonna be offended if you're like, oh, I like your content. Like, yeah, thank you. Like it's great. But like what I make and what you guys make, it is art. Like it's not the same as, making a movie like Coda, right? Like which is a different type of art, but like I would be shocked if someone said like, oh well, like written essays, right? Well, those aren't art. Like criticism like that isn't art.
Yeah.
Like of course it is. And of course video essays are art because it takes like I don't need to tell you guys how much work it takes to make a 10-minute video, even if the editing isn't that complex. It's a lot of work, and when you pour your heart and soul into something, you can tell. And I think like that doesn't mean the art is inherently valuable or good or high art or anything, but it's still art. And I feel like there is like kind of what you were saying, Troy, like yeah, it's like I don't like being labeled, at least by YouTube, as a content creator, because it feels like they're saying, well, you're not, oh, well, it's not real art. And like, look, I mean, I think my own videos are art. Again, that doesn't mean they're inherently good. I think they're pretty good.
I think the Cat in the Hat video should be in the fucking Louvre. That's just the best art I've ever seen. Your Cat in the Hat video. Put that in the Louvre on loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't argue with that. You're very right, Troy. It's so true. But yeah, no, like I kind of went off on a tangent there, and Mithi, I know we gotta wrap up soon, so
you're good.
Talk. But like, I think like to me there is a it's easy to devalue something when it is just content, and that's like there's nothing wrong with content, whatever that means. But for me, I think like when I mean like God, like even my Cat in the Hat video, like I spent a lot of time working on that video, and like it's ridiculous and it's amazing and like I love it, but like that's not like it's silly almost to be like, yeah, that silly video is art, but like it is like to me like that's what it is. And there's so many videos that you guys have made and some of our other friends and even just like other people on the platform where I'm like, this made me feel something. As you said earlier, Troy, like if a story gives you an emotional reaction, like it's accomplished something. Like it's proven its worth in a way. And like there's countless videos and video essays that have done that for me. So like to me, that's really all that matters. And I hope that with my videos, I can do that for some people who watch them.
No, that's a good answer because I think we're not repeating a cycle, but we're trying to do something like that, right? Where we make content and hopefully that reaches an audience and their content will reach another audience, right? And I'll keep going. I'll also do the backwards thing and I'll not get too long. One thing I love about being a part of comic book pop culture, I was thinking about this too after watching Maddie's latest video, which watch this fucking Ben 10 video.
We love the clout. That's what
we love the clout. We love the clout. That's what I'm here for. When I was watching Maddie's video, I was thinking about like how they were introducing their own personal part of their life into it, and I was thinking about my own experiences with like my own personal interests and stuff like that. And for the longest time, I've been interested in comic book shit, right? But like, I'm living in the bumfuck Iowa. There's not that many people who really watch comic book stuff, or they'll watch a Batman movie and they'll talk about it for a bit, and that's really it, right? And so in the back of my head, I'm always like, okay, where do I go to really talk about this? And so, and yes, I've talked with people on the internet and on Twitter and stuff about what I kind of like, and then develop relationships around that. But especially with comic book pop culture Twitter, it's like this little sect of our little group chats and our little fun times and our little memes and who's the Andrew Garfield thing? I don't remember anything about that. But all of that really does help me feel like I have a support system that also values what I think, and that's just really nice to have after a long time. And so that's the big part of this comic book shit that I love. And that's the main thing. That sounds sappy, but that's the main thing. What inspired me? I mean, you're right, Troy, like kind of similarly, my inspirations are kind of controversial. Like Troy Boy 17, that's a very controversial figure.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he fucking sucks. Yeah. But I mean, no, seriously,
I heard his bladder's actually good.
Yeah, I know. No, but you were an inspiration. High Top is an inspiration too because his fucking videos were like the first time I've actually watched video essays. And then filmmaking, it's just really nice to see people around me doing films, and that really inspires me to really push too. Because sometimes I feel like not pushing, but then I see their films and I'm like, okay, no, I can do something too, and I push on. And then also in high school, in 10th grade, a person who played French horn with me, called Caroline Sherman, did a short film and it won our state competition. And I was like, fuck, I want to do filmmaking. And here we are. And there's a little thing for you. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Fuck yeah.
I apologize in advance to Troy's bladder.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Is it?
But I just want one more thing I want to say is like video essays are a new, and I know like most like pretty much all that I make are video essays, and you guys have a little bit more diversity in your videos. But like video essays are a pretty new thing. Like they're really only like 10, 12, whatever like years old, right? So it is a medium that is evolving, and like I think when I think about like some of my favorite video essays, they're video essays that are barely video essays. Like I don't know if you guys have seen Owen Likes Comics like documentary, because it's a documentary. We're
not allowed to
mention
Owen Likes Comics on this podcast. He gets mad. We're not allowed to mention him. God damn it, Cole. God damn it, we had such a good streak going. We had such a good streak. Owen, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell him the rules before we started.
No, I knew about it. I just forgot about it. But his documentary on Mr. Miracles, like that is barely a video essay, and it's a documentary. And like that's also what I like about like a lot of High Top Films' more recent videos, that like they're practically documentaries where you really get to learn a lot about the making of these things and why they matter. And like even like Troy, like your Clark video, like that's probably my favorite video of yours. Still,
I have a secret. I have a thing I need to confess to you. Your Superman video that you made before that is the only fucking reason I put that Christopher Reeve thing in there.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, shit, I need a good Christopher Reeve quote, and I couldn't fucking find one. And I was like, all right, I guess I won't be able to do it. And then that motherfucker, you come up with a good one. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna steal this, and he's a small creator. Nobody, I'm never gonna talk to him. It's okay, I'll never feel bad. And then I felt bad ever since.
You actual thief!
I ruined that video for so many people. I'm so sorry.
Jesus.
Furry Boy was really just a Critical Rants knockoff.
I really am.
Yeah.
I'm a Nando V Movies knockoff. I'm a High Top Films knockoff, and now I'm a Critical Rants knockoff.
Hey, there we go.
And I've also heard I'm a Comic Trick knockoff somehow.
But yeah. All right. Is that? I don't think that's it, right?
I think that's
don't have anything else. And you have just piss.
I'm so sorry. This was a really good conversation, and I couldn't react to the nice things that were being said, or else I will explode.
Yeah.
But thank you all for saying the nice things, and we love you very much, and we're very good friends. And I'm gonna have to go pee very bad. So thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Fanboy Talk. I'm TroyBoy17. Spider-Man videos out. I don't want to make Spider-Man videos for a while, but I probably will have to. But watch the Spider-Man video if you haven't already. It's doing really well, and I'm really happy about it. I'm really thankful for the support.
And tease for the next episode, whenever the fuck that is. If we do Zoom again, there's gonna be a killer fucking background. You guys are gonna lose your fucking shit.
I'm scared now. I'm
scared.
concerned.
Just wait. I'm just gonna. Yeah, we'll watch the next episode, I guess. Yeah.
But is there anything we want to plug?
Yeah. Young Justice video soon. I know I keep fucking saying that, but I'm actually working on it. I swear to fucking God,
I want you
it will
to keep
be
saying
out.
it. I want you to never release a video and just say it.
No, I'm going. I finished the script. There's nothing stopping me from doing it other than my apathy, this other script that I'm working on, and the fact that it's a Young Justice video and I don't want to watch season 3 again.
You know my thought process on it. Just follow what you want to make. What's fun. If it's not fun anymore, stop making it, and then when it becomes fun again, keep making it. You know.
It's fun. I just haven't
Bullet Jordan
thought about it for a while.
That's what he always says. That's what I always do. You know.
Yeah.
As someone who's read the script, it's a good ass script, and that's all I'll say about the video.
Yeah. It'll be good. So yeah. Cole, what do you got?
Yeah.
YouTube Critical Rants, Twitter @critical_rants. I should have some From Software videos out this February. It's not going to be, I think, as many as I released last year because it's February 7th, and I.
But February 7th? No fucking way! God damn it! Valentine's Day's in a week. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You're in trouble.
Oh,
yeah, dude,
that's okay. Olivia told me she forgot to, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, but yeah, fall videos out. It's gonna be great. I have a lot. I have one video I think that a lot of my viewers will really like. That's not super soon, but in the next couple of months. But yeah, I like videos. They're cool.
Bloodborne video.
Awesome.
When? I need a Bloodborne video.
Well, hopefully this month, but I don't know if I'll get to it. But it might be in March.
That's okay.
I think From Software February is going to also be From Software March.
You know what? That's okay too. That's
March
okay
is
too.
going to be Elden Ring. Me playing it.
But guess what? Yeah. Elden Ring is made by From Software, so it works.
Yeah.
Videos just, it doesn't matter when a video comes out as long as it comes out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The TASM 2 rewrite came out at the worst possible time, and that still was well received. So don't worry about when it comes out. That video came out in fucking 2020. Nobody was talking about TASM 2. So who cares? Who cares when a video comes out? Because it exists forever. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah. Also, watch Tyler Goodrich's new video.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I've heard really good things.
Watch that. I haven't watched that yet.
Watch that video. If you haven't seen it, watch Tyler Goodrich's new video and watch Maddie's new video.
Yes.
2 videos from 2 fabulous people that I'm just fucking amazed by the creativity. So that's it. Okay. All right. Now go fucking piss.
I have to pee really bad. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. See you guys around. Bye-bye.
Piss in the toilet like a